It is that time. Time for Stiles and Watkins.
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140. Find us on YouTube at Sactown Sports 1140.
It's time for Alan Stiles and Chris Watkins.
Yes. On a Tuesday, Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. And just like that, the 2024 NBA season has come to a close. A lot of people saying that this season left a lot to be desired, but we leave it up to you, the listeners. What did you think of the NBA season as the Boston Celtics get their 18th title behind Jason Tatum and NBA Finals MVP Jaylen Brown? Cal's finest, by the way. Simone behind the glass for us today as we take you up to 2 p.m. Once again, at 1 p.m., we will be giving away a family 4-pack of 3-day passes to the California Classic. That is at 1 p.m., so you're going to want to hang on for that. And the NBA Finals, it ends in 4-1. There will be no 3-0 comeback. There will be no second ring for Kyrie Irving. There will be no first ring for Luka Doncic and Jason Kidd as a coach. But great season for the Mavericks, even better season for the Boston Celtics and everything that they did to get it done. We have all the moves from Brad Stevens. We have everything that this team did, what Joe Mazzulla did, what the Celtics organization has been working towards from the Kyrie Irving days to the Isaiah Thomas days to you got to break up the Jays. You got to keep the Jays. You got to do this. You got to do that. They finally found a way to overcome it. And all it took is 7 years. On top of that, injuries, if we're being honest, some injuries to some teams in the East. But Chris, they hoisted Larry O'Brien. They are off to Miami for the next couple of days. Wow. I believe the parade is Friday. I know that they will be having a grand old time out there in Boston. Chris Watkins, how you doing?
Yeah, they're going to be having a great time. I saw some of the clips of the city of Boston celebrating last night. Mm-hmm. It looked crazy, but I can't lie, and I'm going to just slightly veer us real quick because that did make me think. Yesterday, as I was watching the game, it just couldn't happen to a worse group of people, man. Like the Boston fans are absolutely just, I mean, they're good. They're a great fan base in terms of they support their team, but man, they're obnoxious. Like I just can't imagine the Sacramento crowd. Really anybody, maybe like Luka might get a Luka sucks chance, but like the Kyrie suck chance, they just had a little bit extra behind it, it felt. And then I saw some guy sitting literally courtside, feet on the floor, maybe like 10 feet away from Jason Kidd, has a poster of Jason Tatum holding up, I think it was Kyrie and Luka, like they were bait. And I'm like, this is crazy. I know, like, come on. Like, it was just winning with class. And, you know, I know Boston obviously has like a level of arrogance to them. It's kind of part of the Boston thing, but as the game was going on, I was like, y'all are up 3-1, and it just kind of felt like you're stomping on someone's grave. And I don't know, it just left me feeling just a little nasty about the situation.
I didn't have a problem. Well, and the problem is too, you know, it's all connected because that's where Portnoy and the whole Barstool crew, that's where they're from. I didn't have a problem with the baby, with the picture with Jason Tatum and Luka.
It was more just that it was courtside, and I felt like they, like, literally as they walk to the bench, they see that, and I'm like, dude, you would get knocked out if this was real life.
Right.
Like, no, you would not have the gusto to do that.
I didn't have a problem with that. I did find it kind of, I don't know, shady, if you will, to still continue to do the bleep Kyrie after that when they're in the streets of Boston. And I know things didn't end well. And Kyrie had said he just like all these players do, he said he wanted to be a Celtic for a very long time, and then he stomped on the Celtic logo. So I mean, Kyrie, now that I guess what it is Kyrie is this new enlightened version of Kyrie, right? So are Celtics fans supposed to enjoy or only supposed to respect you're supposed to respect the person. Don't get me
Right.
wrong, but now that Kyrie is older and more mature,
Right.
we're gonna forget everything that he did.
Sure.
I understand where they're coming from. They not that I would do any of it, but as Boston fans and what they're kind of known for, and you know me spending some time in Philly, it's an argument between Philly and Boston for the most obnoxious fans. I mean, Philly throwing snowballs at Santa Claus during the Eagles game a couple years back.
Yeah, so like you touch the stove, you should expect to get burned.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So, I mean, there's always going to be stuff that I'm not down with, but Boston is Boston, and, you know, they went through it. They had an opportunity back in 2022, and it's been a long kind of road for this crew, even though with all that being said, this man, Jason Tatum, is 26.
Mm-hmm.
He is the oldest 26 I think I've ever seen. And really, as far as now we do the dynasty conversation, well, last season, and I'm not going to do a full victory lap here, but because they're not done, but the Nuggets, could they be a dynasty? Could they? I said, I don't see it. Okay. And the Nuggets end up losing to the Timberwolves, and they'll retool. Now let's have that conversation about the Celtics. On one hand, everything Brad Stevens did was ridiculous, right? And you go out, we have all of the transactions. You flip to get Drew Holiday, which is I'll put it to you like this, Chris. The Bucks are lucky that somebody like me ain't Drew Holiday, because I would have there are so many people that would have been giving them the big. Can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine? And I'm going to go to your boy here. Let's pretend the same thing happened with Tyrese Halliburton, and he's the one who gets traded from the Bucks, ends up in Portland to be forgotten, then gets to the Celtics, and they win a championship. I mean, the pettiness level would have been crazy. So Bucks and Bucks fans better be thanking their lucky stars that Drew Holiday is probably one of the most stand-up guys in the NBA, because they probably already feel bad enough, and it's a bad look for Milwaukee. But with that being said, as far as the Celtics are concerned, okay, Celtics, can they go on a run here? Well, it was pretty darn hard for them to get this one. I guess not this season specifically, but just in general. Now you're looking, and there are plenty of reports happening right now. Remember what we said yesterday, that teams can start to work with their own free agents. Pascal Siakam, we're waiting for final reports, but it looks like Pascal Siakam is going to stay with the Pacers and sign that extension. We're seeing reports on JJ Redick, so we're going to get into all that. Jay Williams had a slip of the tongue on ESPN, so we're going to get into all that. But you look at these teams, Chris, to retool.
Do
you feel like the Celtics are going to be that dynasty conversation, going to be in that dynasty conversation?
Yeah, it's a little tough because they've already been here so much that it's like, I mean, you know, you could either argue that that's a sign that, this is just how good they are, or you could argue, well, I mean, they probably, like you said, they probably should have started this run in 2022. And then this should be title number 2 in the dynasty, and you're lucky to get 3 out of a dynasty. So maybe you could argue they've already wasted a ton of that time. I think it's kind of tough to tell because, I mean, we just saw, I was thinking about it on the car ride in, like with Porzingis' injury history and how it ended up being this season, or this postseason more specifically, like, how are we supposed to believe that this isn't just going to be what happens every single year? That you ask him to play 100 games in a season and he's not going to be able to do it. He can maybe give you 60, and how you disperse those. I mean, the Celtics are a good enough team to where they can survive a regular season without him. So maybe if they just minutes restriction him throughout the season and literally just bubble wrap him until the playoffs. But even then, you're then asking him to play a month and a half straight after not really getting in condition throughout the season. I don't know. It really just depends on how much they're going to rely on Porzingis. I mean, clearly he wasn't himself yesterday, but I still think his I don't want to say his impact was felt, because I really don't think he had much of an impact on the result, but they're a different team with him out there. And, you know, Al Horford's 37, 38 years old. He says he's going to come back for one more season. After that, like, or even next season, if Al Horford's not the same Al Horford that he was this year, and even then Al Horford continues to decline year by year, I just don't know if they're going to be able to do it if they continue to rely on Porzingis. I have no questions about Drew Holiday. I have no questions about Derek White. Obviously, no questions about the 2 J's. But you need a big. And, you know, are they going to continue to rely on Porzingis, or is that maybe going to be something that they look to address in the future? that to me decides the dynasty, honestly. Like, I think we've seen them. They're in the conference finals every single year. Even without Porzingis, they made the NBA finals pretty easily. I would guess that they're going to be in position, but whether they can get over the hump, to me, all depends on what they do with that Porzingis spot or how his health goes.
Yeah, I think that's well said. And I will say, not to have the ring conversation and how much one ring weighs more than the other, but you probably would have felt the Porzingis injury issue more if there were more teams in the East that they were healthy themselves, right? I mean, imagine if the Bucks were healthy and you got Giannis. Imagine if the Sixers
what do you do with Joel?
were healthy. So if you're asking me, is this team going to become a dynasty? And maybe I'm really a stickler for that word, but it was no slight on Denver when I said I didn't think Denver would either. Not that Denver's done, but I guess it's a question. I guess there are two different questions. Do I think a team's going to be a dynasty or do I think they're going to go back to back? Okay. I didn't think Denver was going to go back to back and they didn't. They could still become a dynasty. I didn't see it, but they still could. As far as the Celtics are concerned, do I think they'll go back to back? No, I just don't. I think that the East completely broke down. Okay. Even the Knicks, they weren't even healthy and they're beating an other team that they were less healthy because Halliburton was injured or they once the Pacers got to the Celtics. So, and then you have the West and everything that's happening out there. I don't see the Celtics going back to back. They could become a dynasty, but to your point, it's not going to be with this team as presently constructed. I don't know if what their money situation is. I know Jason Tatum is going to be presented, and I love that. Terminology. He will be presented
with two hands.
Yes, with a ridiculous extension. We'll get into those numbers. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you look at a Valanciunas or somebody like that? I mean, you need somebody there. Real quick, Chris, some of the stats from the 2023-2024 Boston Celtics. Second team in 16-win playoff era to only lose 3 playoff games, one of 8 teams in NBA history to outscore teams by 10 or more for the regular season and playoffs, a 10.72 scoring margin, 6th best in NBA history, 7th longest playoff win streak, never trailed in any playoff series, 80 wins plus 79% win percentage, 9th in NBA history. And regular season, obviously, they had the NBA's best record, won Eastern Conference by 14 games, largest NBA conference win since 1976. So just a ridiculous season. And I know
just ran through everybody.
I saw a couple people throwing out the best team in NBA history conversation. I'm not doing that.
No.
But it was a heck of a season for the Boston Celtics.
No, it was a great team. It was a really, really great team effort. But I mean, this team isn't going to stack up with the 95 Bulls or, with the 16 Warriors or anything like that. Like, these guys were great and definitely got it done. But, I think in terms of the all-time greats, they just kind of lack that fear. I don't think they're a really, really great shooting team, but I think at the end of the day, like they just didn't have the star power, I think, to withstand some of the all-time greats. And I think that, Luka obviously is on his way, but I kind of think that the team was lacking around him. I think that there's definitely been better supporting casts as well.
Coming up next, how the champions were built. We look at what the Celtics did to create this monster who put up those monster numbers. And as far as the Kings are concerned, what is their path to do the same thing? If it was this hard for the Celtics to do it when they did basically everything right, how do the Kings get there? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Subscribe to Sactown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sactown Sports.
At the UPS Store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a walk-up with central air and a skylight, and you found it. Now, every Friday night, you get to fall asleep to the sound of your downstairs neighbor's dance parties. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty.
Tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Brown pulls back out. Celtics can afford take time off the clock. Brown drives, finds Porzingis.
They did it. The Celtics finally get it done. Chris, what do you make of this? We're about to get into how the Celtics were built and how the Kings can try to follow that model. We'll also discuss the Mavericks. Where do they go from here as they pretty close to going all in to get to the promised land? And they get close, Chris, but they don't completely get it done. What do you think about this one? 6-1-7, right? 6-1-7. Yesterday was the 17th of June. Okay, so the 17th of June in 2008, the Celtics won their 17th title. The Celtics won their 18th title June 17th, 2024. And 617 is Boston's area code.
I would say that it's cool when things like that line up. Am I going to say that there's some solar divine intervention that's happening here that is leading Boston? No, but I mean, it's dope that they get to like have that day and kind of have it be their day of celebration. I know like Warrior fans talk about the 4th of July every single time it comes around. That's KD day.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's a nice little nugget for sure. But I wish. I was telling my roommates, I was just like, I just want one, man. Is that so hard to? I just want one championship. Yeah. Is that so hard to ask for? I mean, these fools are talking about championship number 18 and how championship 17 happens to fall on the same day as championship 18, and I'm like, just one, just literally one championship would be great.
How do you think? And I don't want to come off like some of these younger guys that that have something to say about the past of the NBA, but how?
You mean the plumbers and such?
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is how many of those championships feel the same? I mean, you're running around talking about championships that were so long ago and in a completely different NBA. Yeah. To me, I mean, I know Laker fans were saying, "Oh darn, now they have more than us." But if you're the Lakers,
don't get me started on that.
But if you're the Lakers are counting
Minneapolis titles and count the in-season tournament.
No, but that's what I'm saying with all of this.
At least Boston happened all in Boston.
Yeah.
And, like there's direct, like Red Auerbach was the coach and then, became the GM, Bill Russell, player coach. And, they showed that Joe Mazzulla was the youngest coach to win a final since Bill Russell in the 60s. So, at least I don't have a problem with Boston counting theirs because it's all happened in the same building, or not in the same building, but in the same city, same fan base, same everything, no turnover or anything. I have problems with the Lakers counting the George Mikan championships in the 50s where, again, they're playing in Minnesota. It's not even the LA Lakers. So,
no, I hear you.
That's the end of my rant.
I hear you. It's just, oh, yeah, we have all these. And it's just, I mean, cool, but.
No, I mean, dope. I mean, that's great.
I mean, but we're talking about the 50s and the 60s.
That's the only time the Kings have theirs.
Well,
I mean, I would argue we shouldn't count that either. But
that's
Again, that's in Rochester.
You know what? We're in the here and now, and in here and now, they got another one.
So they should count 2, or should they only count in the 8? I mean, by your logic, like in 20 years, they're going to stop counting the Bird titles.
Well, to me, I guess I'm just. Oh yeah, we dominate this. Yeah, well, you dominated a completely different league.
Yeah, 12.
I mean, we're it's like BC versus AD.
Sure.
How many championships do you have AD?
Yeah,
2.
Yeah, I'm sure there is some like post NBA ABA merger, but even then, I still think the Celtics have the most.
No, don't get me wrong. Temple, I believe Temple's only national championship was in basketball, but it was the NIT when the NIT was the only
the national champion.
So I take that.
Yeah, exactly.
I take that. So I guess I'm a bit of a hypocrite. All right, as we get into how the Celtics built this champion and how the Kings can try to follow this model, if you will. So they traded Kemba Walker for Al Horford. They didn't trade Jaylen Brown in 2021 when some people thought maybe the Jays, it wasn't working out. They traded Langford for Derek White. So Derek White was the hit, right? I mean, when we read this stuff off, there are guys where when you made that trade, you probably didn't think you were going to get that. Mm-hmm. And Derek White, I think, is the first found money. It's almost a found money situation, or the found money hits are almost more important to me
for sure
than, okay, well, I guess drafting and hitting is very important.
It is, but to your point,
it's the found money as well. Smart for Porzingis and 2 first-round picks.
That's crazy, man.
You re-signed Jaylen Brown, and should Smart get? I just feel bad for some of these guys.
Sad when that happens,
they give away honorary degrees.
Yeah,
and they didn't go to the school.
Right.
Should Mark? And I felt the same thing about Barry Bonds when the Giants won a couple years after, or not a couple years, but a while after, and Barry was still kind of around.
Right.
Should Marcus Smart get an honorary ring?
I'll push it back on you. Or would you want a ring? If you weren't actually there for if you fought and fought and then they trade you in the next season, they win a ring, do you want that ring?
I don't know. I mean, probably not, because what do you tell people? Oh yeah, I got this. You're not an NBA champion,
right?
You can't be an honorary champion. But if you look at
it's
the
a
roster,
kind gesture if the Celtics do offer it to him.
But it's this whole thing where, the NBA was just posting these random dudes who didn't play at all.
Shout out Jordan Walsh.
Yeah, J.D. Davidson, NBA champion.
Really
yes.
win one? Wow. Hey, I think Wisconsin.
So I don't know. I feel for guys as soon as they leave and then they win. But then it's are you the reason that they weren't winning? Well, we know that's not true.
My roommate asked, not really a big sports fan, but like, if you're like a role, so if you are a Neemias Queta on this team, on the Celtics, not do you want the ring, but what does the ring do for you in terms of in just terms of are you boast? Like, of course, you were a part of it. It was fun, but it's like, you didn't really contribute to it. So I'm not saying you shouldn't get a ring, but it's just like, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, they can flex their ring in a different way than Jordan Walsh can. Yeah,
I got to tell you this. So I got in a lot of trouble in 2022.
Okay.
Because I said on the Warriors flagship that I don't know why James Wiseman is at the parade. I said, what? I said, guys, look, why is he on the bus? Why does he get his own? Why is he at the parade? And there was like 3 guys like that. Yeah. And I got destroyed. I got destroyed.
Again, it's the same thought process. It's the same line of thinking. Like, it's because it's not embarrassing, but it's like, we all know you didn't really contribute.
No.
Hey, iron sharpens iron. I get it. During practice, they needed some scout team guys. You gave them a good look, good run, ability to win a championship and look great every night. But I
got in a lot of trouble for that.
Yeah, I can see why.
Because
I think it's a fair question. It's just you probably asked it at the
okay,
wrong
but
time.
honestly, so there are buses and it'll have both names on it.
Yes, yeah.
So
it's
it'll
like
have
2 guys
one and
share
2.
one, right.
And he had his own situation.
Yeah, that's
that's
definitely questionable.
They fired him off early because just get him out the way.
Yeah,
and I don't. They paired him with
the pace car. Yeah,
everyone's like, who is that? Who is that? Who's at the front? Who's at the front? Oh,
is that
Wiseman?
Festus?
Oh yeah.
No, I think that's Kevin Hart.
Okay, don't start that again. Do not start that again, Chris. It's too early. After that, they re-signed Jaylen Brown. They traded Brogdon and the Time Lord for Drew Holiday, and then they re-signed Porzingis and Drew Holiday. So Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett got the Celtics their 17th championship in 2008. Then trading those Hall of Famers to Brooklyn in 2013 for draft picks that became Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, got the Celtics their 18th championship in 2024.
That is how you do it.
That is how you do it. And Paul Pierce was on IG Live or something, and he was enjoying himself. So with all that being said, they made all those moves
after all that,
and we really don't even know, Chris. They got it done.
Yeah.
But if the Bucks are healthy, if the Sixers are healthy, it could have been dicier than it was.
Shoot, Miami's giving them problems over the years.
Even Miami didn't have Jimmy Butler.
They sure didn't.
They didn't have Jimmy Butler. So all of this does to me is illustrate how hard it is.
And how lucky you got to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think we should normalize using the word luck.
Yes.
Because championships, it requires both.
Yep.
Whatever you want to put on the scale as far as the skill and the talent versus the luck, that's cool.
Right.
But luck is in there somewhere.
Yes.
Maybe
absolutely.
for more seasons than others.
Mm-hmm.
And we can go back and forth
Shout out the Kings last year.
Yeah. And we can go back and forth on where it should fall for the Celtics this season. But you need a lot of things to go right.
Yes. Ball got to bounce in your direction.
And they finally did for the Boston Celtics. And when the Celtics didn't get it right in 2022, that's when you got an aberration random year from Andrew Wiggins that he's never replicated.
Not once.
And you got Jordan Poole when he was in his Steph Curry Jr.
for sure. Yeah.
and we haven't seen any of that from either of those guys ever again.
Yep. Never.
Ever again.
Shout out all those guys. And Kevon.
Coming up next, how the Celtics finals run ties back to the Kings and how tough it is to build a contender. And after that, we have some fun with some Jason Tatum sound. Is he corny, cringe, or is he getting the short end of the stick? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
What's the missing piece for the 49ers?
Which names will they add during free agency? Whether it's in season or off season, the coverage never stops. Get the latest 49ers news on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
The IRS deadline has come and gone. So do you owe money to the IRS? If so, you need an ally. Whether you owe the IRS $6,000 or $600,000, whether your tax problems are personal or business, the professionals at Allies Tax Relief are ready to step in and negotiate your fresh start with the IRS. Here's a happy customer of Allies Tax Relief.
Before calling Allies Tax Relief, I feared the IRS would take all of my assets. I owed them over $562,000. Thankfully, I was referred to Allies and called them for help. They ultimately saved my life from uncertainty. Allies negotiated my giant tax debt to an unbelievable $1,500. They are professionals and they fight the fight for their clients.
Allies Tax Relief will protect your assets from being seized and your paycheck from being garnished. Call right now for your free consultation. 800-296-0772. That's 800-296-0772. Or visit AlliesTaxRelief.com.
At the Good Feet store, we take pain very seriously. Whether in the foot, knee, hip, or back, Good Feet makes over 300 styles, flexibilities, and sizes of pain-relieving arch supports. With 26 bones, 30 joints, and over 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments in each foot, a lot can go painfully wrong. So there's a trained arch support specialist at each Good Feet store to give you a precision fit. Come in for a free fitting and test walk. No appointment necessary. Good Feet arch supports are HSA, FSA eligible.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Since 1776, July 4th has been celebrated as the birth of American independence, but it's been a federal holiday only since 1941. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. It was a mere 7 years later when the Keys family opened their first Naturewood store in Sacramento, and I guess Northern Californians have been celebrating ever since. We celebrate an incredible selection of furniture brands made right here in America. We celebrate the kind of generous hometown hospitality that was important to Walter Keys in 1948 and continues with the Keys family and the Naturewood Home Furnishing staff today. And we celebrate the kind of quality that's been synonymous with Naturewood for all these 76 years. Look for made in America brands like Stanton, Sam Moore, Stickley, Hilltop Hickory, Simply Amish, and more during the Naturewood 4th of July sale event. Find the furniture that you will celebrate for years to come. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
It's the Make This the Summer event, and it's going on now at Lodi Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Hi, everyone. Leonard Harrington here, and I want to tell you how we make your buying experience at Lodi CDJR as easy as possible. You can come in for a visit, or you can do everything online at LodiCDJR.com. Just pick out the make and model you want and scroll through our large in-stock inventory. Next, schedule a test drive at the click of a button. If you want to finance your vehicle, you can start your paperwork online too, saving you plenty of time before you get here. And if you're looking to sell your vehicle, sell or looking to buy, we'll give you an instant cash offer online too. At Lodi Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, we make it easier than ever to put you into a new vehicle. It's what we do. Online at LodiCDJR.com or in person. We're right off 99 in Kettleman, where we're open till 9 every night and Sundays after church.
Prices are better at the Low Price Center. Lodi Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Visit us at LodiCDJR.com.
Yeah!
All the work, all the sacrifice, handling the enormous weight of massive expectations. Ends tonight here. It's over. Time to say it again, Boston. Anything's possible. Banner number 18 has been secured. The Celtics are NBA champions.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
I just want to say we made it. We made it through an NBA postseason with the Sacramento Kings on the shelf. And honestly, I want to thank the Celtics for making quick work of most of their opponents and powering us through to the offseason, because a lot of reports are coming out. A lot of names are being thrown around. You have the A options for teams. You have the B options for teams. There's a report out right now when it comes to the Sixers. Their A options, obviously they've brought up Paul George. Now they're saying their B option, obviously it's not being said like that, but if Paul George doesn't end up with the Sixers, they're interested in Miles Bridges. They are trying to build something. And it's not just the Sixers. We know everyone is trying to build something. Klay Thompson, what's going to happen to him? The Magic, what are they going to do? And now we're seeing reports, Chris, from Action Network, that Old Faithful, as we call it, the usual trade package of Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter is starting to get floated around to try to have this conversation and make something happen with Kyle Kuzma, and not just Kyle Kuzma, a couple other people.
Yeah, it's officially that season, like you were saying. I mean, it is trade season. It is whispers, rumors, all this stuff is now afloat, and with the season being over, now things can get really spicy. And yeah, like you said, I mean, there's reports now that the Kings could be interested in a Levine Caruso package, and yeah, maybe re-engaging in Kyle Kuzma conversation. So if everyone was sick and tired of this station, apparently only this station talking about
Maybe
Kyle
we
Kuzma,
knew something.
Maybe.
Just
maybe.
You'll never know.
Nope. I guess they'll never know.
Oh, by the way, about 15 minutes here, we have all the Tatum sound you could ever dream of. And the question is it corny? Is it cringe? Or should we just let the man live? Just let him live. 11:15, we will get into detail on that Action Network report and everything the Kings are doing and trying to make happen with the usual suspects of Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes. And with that being said, as they try to build something, the Kings, my initial takeaways from the Celtics and what they did and what they went through to finally get that elusive championship ring is that, and I hate to sound like this, Chris, because it's not a pessimistic take. I think it's just a realistic take, that you should probably try to find joy in any type of success that your team has. Because for the Celtics to have everything, and I know we go back and forth on the Celtics being a destination spot, if you will,
yep.
But, whatever, they can get guys when they want to get guys. You have Brad Stevens, who's done a heck of a job as the GM and running those operations. You make all the right moves. You don't miss on drafts. You do everything right. And even with that being said, you finally get one in a season where your two biggest rivals, right, in the Sixers and the Bucks, they weren't even healthy. The team that knocked you out and had no business of knocking you out last season in the Miami Heat, they didn't have their best player. okay? The New York Knicks and everything that comes with playing in the Garden, they didn't have Julius Randle. All of these things had to happen. You go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and their best player, or arguably their best player, Tyrese Halliburton, he's injured. So even to do everything right, if one of those things goes in a different direction, you still could have lost. So you can do everything right, and you still need help from the basketball gods or whoever it is to get it done. And on the other side, you face a Mavericks team who, look, Mavericks, they did it, man. And this game is about this league is about matchups. It's crazy how people say, oh, well, the Timberwolves beat the Nuggets, and then that matchup was bad when they went up against the Mavs. Because there are people out there that think, could the Nuggets have beat the Celtics even though they couldn't get past the Timberwolves and the Timberwolves couldn't get past the Mavs? So many things had to go right. And it doesn't necessarily make me feel worse about the Kings situation. I think I'll just stick with the word of realistic. It just makes me feel more realistic about the situation. And that it's just illustrating how hard it is to actually win a championship.
Yeah, I think I take more so of like a team building perspective from it, where I just kind of look at it and I say you should never be satisfied. And I think that's the thing that the Celtics did a great job of doing is, obviously they definitely tried things, and you could argue that maybe they tried the Marcus Smart run for a year too long, but never being afraid to ship off a guy like Marcus Smart, not being afraid to, even though Robert Williams is a really big piece for you, to say, hey, like, let's kick the tires on his market because he hasn't been healthy for us, and we got to see if we can get something. They end up doing the same thing with Malcolm Brogdon too. Like, Malcolm Brogdon won a Sixth Man of the Year for them and was great for them, and really provided something that they needed. They needed an extra ball handler, and Malcolm Brogdon provided it and did it at a great way, and they were not afraid to move on from him. And I think that's the hardest thing to do in sports. I mean, we talk about, especially with Keegan right now, how people clutch onto their pearls. They say, no, this is mine. I've grown to love these, and I don't want to move on from it. And, sometimes you have to make those really tough decisions in order to get to a different place. I mean, it might not always be a better place, but you gotta be willing to take those risks. And I think, another shout out to Brad Stevens. Like, he was very unafraid to do things that might have been unpopular. I think Marcus Smart was the heart of that team. He was the soul of that team. I think Jason and Jalen weren't really the leaders of that locker room. I think it was Marcus Smart. And for them to be willing to just move on from him and get Porzingis, make a risky move like that, but see the bigger picture of, if this works out, this is a title. This is an easy title. And of course, Drew Holiday plays into that as well. But I would just say never being settled. And to the Drew Holiday point, hopping on opportunity, not being afraid, not letting things get in the way of having the greater goal. And, I think that's, again, something that we struggle with it here in Sacramento, and I think across the league as well, in saying, like, we're talking about maybe getting these more talented guys, the Jeremy Grants, the Kyle Kuzmas, the Brandon Ingrams, the Jimmy Butlers, the Mikal Bridges, all these guys. People are afraid to get rid of what we have, but I think at the end of the day, getting talent and taking that risk is the only way you're going to eventually win a championship if you are. And just being willing to accept everything that comes with that. Of course, it's a lot easier when you have 17 championships to fall back on.
And I think the craziest thing is, Chris, you're talking about Keegan Murray and you're spitting facts on all of this, because it's not just Kings fans. Everybody has their prospect, and you think he's a dude.
Ask Warrior fans about Andrew Wiggins or Kuminga.
And Kuminga's in France right now. I saw him boogieing in his bag again. You need to boogie him and trade him if you want to really make a move, and nobody wants to do that because he's your guy.
Yeah.
And
the Warriors are a prime example of just not moving on either.
If you could trade Marcus Smart while his hair is green, you traded this man while his hair was Celtics green.
Insane.
Brad Stevens don't give a dang about anything. He had to change it to
blue.
He had to change it.
Blue I've
Chris, this is crazy. But all these guys are untouchable.
Yeah.
No. We can't make that move. Brad Stevens flipped everybody, and he looks like a genius. And I haven't been easy on Brad Stevens. Chris, you know how many games Robert Williams played for the Blazers?
I don't think he played a single one, did he?
He played 6.
Oh, okay.
You know how many games Malcolm Brogdon played for the Blazers?
20.
39.
Yeah. Well,
39. For Drew Holiday.
Yeah, for Drew Holiday.
For Drew Holiday.
The dude who was just instrumental.
And can we talk about this for a second? And we can continue it on the other side. We talk so much about the talent on the court, right? And I know that they have GMs of the year, so they do recognize, hey, this guy made some good moves. What about the, I guess, knowledge or intelligence or talent of a GM, right? So for Brad Stevens to make all of this work, there is a level of this guy is talented in how he can build rosters. Do we know, or I guess we don't know yet, how talented or how confident do you feel in Monty McNair's ability or talent to maybe not be Brad Stevens, but at least be good enough to build a contender?
Yeah, I think we'll talk about it on the other side because there's a lot there. There's a lot there.
Chris says there's a lot there, and I agree. We'll talk about it on the other side. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
At Ashton Price, over the last 25 years, we've won just about every injury case you can think of. Slip and fall, falling merchandise, fell through rotted decking, we won those. Dangerous stairs, falls into holes, dog bites, won them. Injured while pedestrian or on a bicycle, auto, motorcycle, big rig, company vehicle, Uber, or Lyft accident, we've won them all. And the best news is there's no fee until you win. So no matter how you got injured,
remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Hot summer savings now at Maida Chevy with $12,000 off MSRP on every new Silverado half-ton Turbo Max in stock after rebates.
$12,000 off every Silverado LT Turbo Max at Maida Chevy with at least 5 at this price.
Hot summer savings up to $12,000 off MSRP exclusively at Maida Chevy at MaidaChevy.com. Sacramento Silverado headquarters. Together, let's drive.
Not available with special financing. We see some of the offers. Must trade in 2010 model year or newer and 7124.
Made a great deal at Maida.
Remarkable change begins with daring to be different. Baby, I'm on a mission with Boost Mobile, putting the latest phones in the hands of more people. Introducing the Signature Coach Prime Razor, only from Boost Mobile. Rush to your nearest Boost Mobile retailer and get your Signature Coach Prime Razor on us. Get after it.
When you switch in with ID verification, select plans only. Offer valid 4/19/24 through 5/23/24. While supplies last. Taxes extra. New customers only. Must remain active and in good standing on the $60 a month plan for 6 months to receive all credits. Offer subject to change.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. Words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks, "How's your French going?" you can say,
Babbel facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue.
Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Sacramento, Dirks Bentley is coming to town.
Hey y'all, this is Dirks Bentley.
Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo for Country in the Park 2. And he's bringing some friends.
This is Bonnie. Take my hand, let me make you mine.
It's Dasha, Kelsey Hart, and more. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo. Get your tickets before they sell out at CITPfest.com. Brought to you by Hyatt Vacation Club and Xfinity.
Right now, you're missing all the fun at the Hagen Oaks Driving Range powered by Top Tracer. It's the place to be this summer in Sacramento. Whether you're an accomplished player or a newbie, there's something for everyone at the Hagen Oaks Nighttime Driving Range. Golf is happening right now, and the Hagen Oaks Driving Range is the perfect place to see what the fuss is all about. The Hangout Food Truck offers tasty bites and craft beers on the brand new relaxed patio, and with a free concert schedule, there's always something for everyone at the Hagen Oaks Driving Range. Join the fun tonight until midnight. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Tatum has Derek Lively on him. Porzingis not expecting the pass. Shot clock at 4. White launches a 3. It's good.
Derek White from downtown. Derek White bail out possessions at the end of a shot clock with big-time threes.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
How sweet it is, number 18 for the Boston Celtics. And Brad Stevens is doing victory laps, enjoying himself, and he deserves it. We have some Jason Tatum sound for you coming up during the show. It's some fun stuff. And, how do you feel about Jason Tatum? Is he going to take that leap now? He already was, Chris, the second highest selling jersey in the NBA. So is he going to take that leap? Well, it won't be with the finals, NBA Finals MVP trophy, but how much does that matter? But as we get back into this conversation, we really started to pick up towards the end of the last segment as far as the GM ranking and some of the names, Chris, when you think about these big GMs, you have Brad Stevens, Sam Presti, Daryl Morey, Danny Ainge, Masai Ujiri, and where does Monty McNair fall? Not necessarily fall on that list because I think he's still getting started, but how confident are you and should Kings fans be in Monty McNair eventually being a part of a conversation with those names?
Yeah, it kind of becomes tough because, GMs are kind of based off their legacy, and we were kind of talking about, like what made Masai Ujiri into that kind of name, and it's not even necessarily it's kind of like coaching too, where it's like a little bit of what have you done for me lately, and a little bit of like, hey, you won a title in the past, so that means that you're just at a certain level,
right?
I just first and foremost think Monty is a good talent evaluator. It seems to me like he has a good understanding of the things that, like the traits and tools that make players NBA players. Like Davion Mitchell, I think, say what you will about how he is as a pro. I think the fact that it was a risky pick and you still see Davion has a pro level skill, I think is good talent evaluation. I still think the Kings could have done a little bit better with that draft. I know people are upset Alperen Şengün and things like that, but you look at his selection of Tyrese Halliburton, even though that was kind of one that was people viewed at the time as obvious, even for him to stop the slide, I think was a sign that Monty knew what he was doing. Keegan Murray, taking Keegan while everybody is screaming at him to take Jaden Ivey, for him to say, no, like I kind of think this 6'9" guy who can shoot the ball,
right,
like Klay Thompson, like I kind of think that's going to be valuable, or at the very least, I know that's going to be a guy I can play. I'm unsure about Jaden Ivey, so I just trust that Monty has had a really good eye for trying to see who has not only just being an NBA player, that's more talking about the draft, but like how these guys are going to fit. He saw the vision of, no, Fox and Sabonis are actually going to play together perfectly. Like they're going to complement each other in a lot of different ways. And Sabonis is going to add a lot of different dimensions to our offense. I think that's kind of the first level for a GM, is just diagnosing talent. And it sounds easy and obvious, but ask every single Kings fan about the year after year after year of in the draft, these guys just straight up missing. And then free agents, like you mentioned, finding those diamonds in the rough. The Kings were always paying these guys who were at the lower level of free agency. And I know part of it is trying to convince those guys to come to your situation, but they very rarely, if never, found those diamond in the rough free agents, those guys that, hey, like I didn't know I always thought he could be something, but maybe with given more opportunity, he could really shine. And even when the Kings were bad, they never really found free agents that would pop and were kind of found value. Like a guy like Tobias Harris should have been a King. Like you should have just paid that guy and gotten him onto your team and then maybe traded him later. So yeah, I just kind of, at the moment, I trust that Monty has a really good eye for talent, whether or not and I think we're starting to see now, like we talked about with the Celtics, you have to be willing to jump on opportunities. You have to be sometimes aggressive. Like you have to try and take that leap of faith. And that's the part that we haven't seen from Monty yet. He's very calm, very calculated, but I do think, especially, people are going to point to this deadline, but even just having Harrison Barnes on this roster, as long as they have him being on the trade deadline year after year after year, I think he's just a little bit too patient. And I think that's the thing that we want to see from him this offseason, is we want to see Monty see a guy, go get the guy and bring him in, because it's been too many times where the Kings have been connected to these big names, but then don't end up making the move. If there's a ton of guys who are available, the Kings have to go get one of them. That's the next step for Monty for me.
Yeah. And you look, you have and some of this was while Brad Stevens was the coach as well, but you had the Celtics with Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
That's hit a ceiling. You had the Celtics with Kyrie.
Terry Rozier,
Okay, that's hit a ceiling. Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart. Yeah. So they've just been flipping and moving things this whole time. And really, we've done this, Chris. We call it the Brock Purdy exercise, when you put somebody else on a different team. If you look at some of these other GMs now, whether it's Danny Ainge or Sam Presti or obviously Brad Stevens, if they were the GMs for the Kings now, how would they approach this offseason? Would it feel as stuck as it's felt with the Kings? Hey, we got this same stale package in Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter, or would they be able to maneuver something else? Obviously, we'll never know, but it's getting to a point now where you're in this situation because you re-signed Harrison Barnes. So you can't just sit here and say, well, we keep offering and we're not going to do anything because nobody's biting. It's like when I went fishing a couple weeks ago, American River. I changed the bait a couple times. It didn't end up working. But if you just leave the same bait out there and nobody is biting, come on now. You have to change something. So that's where I'm kind of at with it. You can't just sit there, and I'm not giving Monty a pass if we just didn't think we could get enough value back for Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter. I just don't think both of them can be on the roster and feel like Monty has done his job this offseason. I don't think both of them need to be gone, but I do think that you need to prove that you're not just, because it's almost as if you're not giving up, but all right, we're going to stay true until, why would anything change? Why would anything change? Everybody knows what you have to offer. So you have to figure out a way to maneuver this in a different way.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that they need to do more of the supplementary moves. Like, it's the bringing in Kevin Huerter's huge. Like, that's probably not talked about enough. The fact, I know they gave up a first round pick and that's kind of tying us up right now, but seeing that Kevin Huerter was in a lame duck situation where, Atlanta needs to move on from him, but that's a really good asset. Let me go grab him. That's great. I think the process of getting Chris Duarte in here made sense. Those are the kind of things that I think they need to do, is take those, try and find that Derek White trade, try and move some of these Sasha. If you can get Sasha and turn him into maybe a productive player. Hey, Trey Lyles wasn't great for us next year. I'm not saying you have to trade him, but that could be a piece where it's like, okay, this is a guy who's part of our rotation and has some value, but what happens if we just swap some role players for role players? Maybe it's a better fit than what these guys are. That's how you can find those diamonds in the roughs. And that's how you can evolve and change while at the same time, like you're saying, if you're going to keep Harrison Barnes, if you're going to keep Kevin Huerter, that's a way of still changing and while you're standing pat. It's not just literally running back the same group of guys. It's, hey, here's a little tweak here, here's a little tweak here, and that's where I think the difference is.
Yeah, when it turns into, okay, well, this player versus Trey Lyles on the outside, they seem like the same guy.
Yeah.
But I'm bringing them in because this player can create. It's a wing that can create.
Yep.
This player can guard threes and fours,
Yep.
right? So to your point, there is a world, and we'll talk a little bit later about the biggest offseason fears for the Sacramento Kings and all teams. That's from Bleacher Report. But to that point, if you are going to keep them, you can't keep the whole thing the same.
Right.
There has to be something done, and there probably will be moves where people like me and other Kings fans will complain and say it wasn't enough.
Right.
But at least, but you can prove us wrong throughout the season if it is a better fit. We got Dwayne, 916-339-1140, wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Dwayne? What you got for us?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Hey, listen, you guys are kind of like saying it without saying it, because I get it. You guys are loyal. But you missed your chance at last year's trade deadline. Let's just call it what it is. You guys are still dealing with that fallout. The players, the fans, nobody trusts that guy, Monty, to pull the trigger or make a move that's going to take them to the next level, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Dwayne,
let's just say it.
Yeah. No, thanks for the call, Dwayne. I would just say, and we've been saying this, Chris, I do think that there are some fans that feel like Dwayne, but I do think most fans, and I shouldn't say most, I do think there are a number of fans that also feel like, okay, the trade deadline, Beam team, we were coming off the playoff, coming off the playoff run. We get all that. It's this offseason where if nothing gets moved, and that's why, to your point, Chris, if he makes smaller moves, they might end up working out, but they better work out because the public is going to say this is ridiculous now. Yeah. So I hear you, Dwayne, and I do think there are fans that feel like that, but I feel like there are a lot of fans that are giving him the pass, giving him the mulligan on this past trade deadline because of what happened. Not that it's right or wrong, but now moving forward this offseason, you got to take care of business. Coming up next, we continue to take care of business, and the MVP from the finals, Jaylen Brown, was it the right decision? We discuss and how much it actually matters. And we get back into some Kings talk as we mentioned that action report with the Kings have an interest in their old faithfuls, Kyle Kuzma and Zach LaVine. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
It ignites something inside of you. Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Feel the thunder, lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
At the Good Feet store, we take pain very seriously. Whether in the foot, knee, hip, or back, Good Feet makes over 300 styles, flexibilities, and sizes of pain-relieving arch supports. With 26 bones, 30 joints, and over 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments in each foot, a lot can go painfully wrong. So there's a trained arch support specialist at each Good Feet store to give you a precision fit. Come in for a free fitting and test walk. No appointment necessary. Good Feet arch supports are HSA, FSA eligible.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
My good friends, Dr. Jack Friedlander and Dr. Pash in Roseville and in San Francisco are offering not only confidence, not only security, but also the ability, if you ain't insecure, to go from the roster to the all-star team. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about UpsizeMatters.com. Time after time, vote after vote, circumference, or as we call it, girth, is consistently ranked as the most important attribute. And Dr. Jack and Dr. Pash can give you a free consultation. The procedure can be done on the same day as your consultation with immediate results. It's non-surgical. It's virtually pain-free, safe, effective, long-lasting, semi-permanent, and doctor-performed. For more information, go to UpsizeMatters.com. Go to UpsizeMatters.com. Make that change. Make the all-star team. get your girth on.
Dawn or dusk, I'm on the hunt. Skeeter here, Sacramento Yellow Mosquito and Vector Control District, and I'm wearing Skeeter Vision, night vision goggles that light up skeeters at dawn or dusk like the 4th of July. Mosquito, 12 o'clock. Got him. So fight the bite by wearing long sleeves and pants at dawn or dusk when they're most active. Apply insect repellent and drain stagnant water. It's a breeding ground.
Dawn or dusk, the Sacramento Yellow Mosquito and Vector Control District reminds you to fight the bite. For more information or to report problems, go to fightthebite.net.
Since 1776, July 4th has been celebrated as the birth of American independence, but it's been a federal holiday only since 1941. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. It was a mere 7 years later when the Keys family opened their first Naturewood store in Sacramento, and I guess Northern Californians have been celebrating ever since. We celebrate an incredible selection of furniture brands made right here in America. We celebrate the kind of generous hometown hospitality that was important to Walter Keys in 1948 and continues with the Keys family and the Naturewood Home Furnishing staff today. And we celebrate the kind of quality that's been synonymous with Naturewood for all these 76 years. Look for made in America brands like Stanton, Sam Moore, Stickley, Hilltop Hickory, Simply Amish, and more during the Naturewood 4th of July sale event. Find the furniture that you will celebrate for years to come. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Any golfer would be thrilled to listen to Jack Nicklaus talk, and I had to tap the enthusiasm brakes a bit when I had a chance to interview him. But over the course of 40-plus years, Nicklaus wrote enduring words in Golf Digest magazine. Max Adler compiles some of the best. Nicklaus says, "When I putt, I hold my breath before initiating the stroke to keep my head and body still." About putting, he said, "I visualize the putter shaft as being extremely limber, almost as flexible as a length of rope, which means the only way I can get the club head to swing truly is to stroke putts very softly." He said, "The harder I want to hit a shot, the slower I try to begin the swing." About the game, he said, "The key to playing well is to understand who you are as a person and then manage that. I'm finding now more than ever that the game of a lifetime can give you the time of your life without ever striking a shot." Sounds pretty much like life itself. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your flagship station for the Beam Team.
Should we light the beam? Light the beam, baby.
Sactown Sports.
Even though if you look at the stats, Jason Tatum averaged more points, rebounds, assists than Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown set the tone early in the series, and friend of the station, Sam Amick, had Jaylen Brown. Malika Andrews had Jason Tatum. Tim Bontemps had Jaylen Brown. Doris Burke had Jason Tatum. PJ Carlissimo had Jason Tatum. Mike Curtis had Jaylen Brown. Vince Goodwill had Jaylen Brown. Sean Powell had Jaylen Brown. Simone Sandry had Jaylen Brown. Gary Washburn had Jason Tatum. And Jeff Zilgit had Jaylen Brown. Did they get it right, Chris?
I think
Finals MVP.
I think so. I think, Tatum definitely had a really good shout. I mean, he had a great elimination game. I think he had 30 and 10 assists, and he had no turnovers for a while. But I just felt like Jaylen Brown, I thought he was going to be it from the start. I just felt like he had.
You were right on that, by the way. Plus 600.
I'm not here to
prop
take
talk.
Laps, but yeah.
Prop talk. You should have followed Chris.
I just thought it was the right move. Chris. Yeah. I just feel like Jaylen has been their better player the past two rounds. And, people thought that Jason Kidd was joking when he said, or trying to play some mind games when he said that Jaylen Brown was the Celtics' best player. But I just thought that was fact. I thought it was the truest thing throughout the closing rounds. And Jason was great. I mean, it's not to take anything away from him. I just saw that he's the 6th player in NBA history to lead his team throughout the entire duration of the playoffs in points, assists, and rebounds, which is obviously a really, really impressive thing to do. He was all over the place. And even if you look at the raw numbers, he did technically have better numbers than Jaylen Brown. Just shot it, I think, 4% less from the field, and both of which weren't really excellent. I think that's kind of the tough part about it, is both of them were around 20 or so points per game. Both of them shot under 45% from the field. Right. And I think Jason had 8 rebounds or 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and Jaylen had 4 rebounds, 4 assists. So they pretty much did the same thing. I just think that Jaylen Brown's defense was huge. I mean, Jason Tatum also is really good in terms of off switches, but Jaylen was picking up Luka from half court on and just made his life incredibly difficult. And I think he was the thing whenever Boston really, really needed big buckets, felt like it was Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum was just not on all series. And, I just felt like, Jaylen was the more impactful player. Jason obviously had big impact as well, but it just felt like Jaylen was truly their best player. And I think Drew Holiday honestly had a decent shot as well. I kind of surprised he didn't get at least one vote.
Yeah, I thought Drew would get one.
He was my MVP through 2 games at least.
Right. And, you know how this thing goes. I really thought Jason Tatum was going to win it, and I don't know if politics is the right term, but I just thought he was going to win it simply because of everything that comes with Jason Tatum and, the whole face of the NBA conversation. And then it felt almost the opposite, if you will. It almost felt like everyone thought that was going to be the case, so they voted against him because of that. So I don't necessarily know that there was a right or wrong answer, but it almost feels like it worked against Jason Tatum, that everybody thought, oh, well, it's going to go to Jason Tatum. His stats are better, and he's Jason Tatum. And then the voters said, well, we're going to make sure that's not the case, and went for Jaylen Brown. But I do think they authentically wanted Jaylen Brown. It's just always hard to tell in these situations.
I think it's a little bit of a Steph Curry situation, not in the sense of they were trying to not give it to him, but I think when you're the star player, there's a certain level of expectation of where you're supposed to be in a series, and the fact that he didn't reach that, I think is like it's not a slight, but I think it's hey, you left this, you're not supposed to leave this up for debate, and you left it open for debate, which makes you feel as if, okay, well, if Tatum didn't earn it, I have to look other places. And I think Jaylen played just well enough to where you could definitely justify it. I don't think it's that crazy. Again, I think Jaylen was their most impactful player. I think Tatum could have been was their best scorer and definitely was their best offensive weapon. But I think all the way around, Jaylen definitely earned it. But yeah, it didn't really feel like Tatum grabbed it and secured it. If he would have had one more game like he had yesterday, I think it's probably his pretty easily. But I mean, that wasn't the Jason Tatum we saw all series. He was missing tons of layups. A lot. I mean, I know it's part of Boston's offense, but I just watching them so concentrated for the past couple weeks, they're so 3-point reliant. Everybody who talked this Kings season about too many threes. I hate to say it, but I don't think it's going anywhere, because this to me is just how the NBA is played now. And even the best team in the NBA lives and dies by the 3. And the Celtics at one point in this game, they missed 8 straight, I think it was, and they were one of their last 15 from 3. They went completely ice cold. So I just say that to say, like, I kind of feel like for everyone, again, who is saying the Kings just cannot, myself included, you can't live and die by the 3. I just kind of think that that's the route that people have diagnosed as the best way to win a championship in today's NBA, is just being a ridiculous 3-point shooting team and crashing the boards, which the Kings were both bad at this year.
I got something. Yeah. I got something for you, Chris. Number 1 NBA team 3-pointers attempted per game. Number 1 was Boston.
Yeah,
at 42 threes attempted per game. You want to know who number 2 was?
Probably the Pacers.
Sacramento.
Really?
Sacramento number 2, Golden State number 3.
Wow.
Dallas number 4.
Wow.
Memphis number 5. And the Pacers with number 15.
Huh. Wow. I would have thought with their offense that they would have just taken more.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah, Pacers middle of the pack. Boston number 1 at 42 a game. Sacramento number 2 at 39.3 a game. It's not going anywhere. And here's the thing. To your point, Dallas number 4 at 38.2. So the number 1 team
and
the
like
number
2
4
of those things are not like the others.
We're the 2 in the finals.
Celtics, Kings, Warriors, Dallas. Okay, well, I'm trying to read into that. And I mean, at the very least, I guess maybe the question for that then is, what is the difference? And there's a lot of differences, but what's the difference, I guess, in the Celtics in the way that they take their threes versus the way that the Kings take theirs? And more so in the sense of roster-wise, do the Kings have now obviously talent is a different question, but in terms of the type of players they have, is it similar to that of what Boston has? So Boston's out here playing Drew Holiday, who is, let's say, a 37% three-point shooter. They have Derek White, who can be like a high 30s, low 40s three-point shooter. Jason Tatum can be, again, kind of like Derek White. Jaylen Brown is more mid-30s. They bring off Sam Hauser off the bench. They have Porzingis shooting. Who else shoots for them? Peyton Pritchard comes off the bench, shoots for them. Sometimes Sam Hauser will come off the bench and shoot for them. So that's 8 guys that I just listed that are 36% and up. If we were to do that for the Kings, it's Herter. I'll throw Malik in there. Keegan Murray, Harrison Barnes, Trey Lyles. I'll throw Sasha in there just for the number, even though he's not part of the rotation. I'm not throwing De'Aaron in there. I'm not throwing Sabonis in there. That's 6. I came up with 6 versus 8. So it's more of a question of, okay, Boston has 8 guys that are legitimate high level or mid to high level 3-point shooters. The Kings have 6. Is that a big enough difference to, and again, 6 with the stretch adding Sasha. So really it's 5 impact starters or playable guys. I guess maybe you can throw Duarte in there. So that's 6. I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse about the situation. Kind of makes me feel like the Kings still are a couple shooters short, and it felt like that this year.
Yeah, and that's what's so funny about this, because now I'm looking at NBA team 3-pointers made per game.
Oof.
And you have a different number. But not really though. Boston at 16.1.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they shot the lights out.
Golden State at 14.7. Sacramento at 14.4.
Okay.
Dallas at 14 even. So really what this is exactly what we've harped on all season long. The ability to make the threes and to make them at a high clip and also defend at a high clip.
Yes,
that's
maybe
the
it's
big
the
difference.
defense. Yeah.
So really we could take Boston out of it. The more confusing thing is the difference between the Kings and the Mavericks, because the Kings took more threes than the Mavericks, and they made more threes than the Mavericks, not by much. 14.4 for the Kings and 14 even for the Mavericks. So how are the Mavericks in the final? You know what I mean? So Mavericks are in the final, and I know Malik Monk went down, but the Mavericks, I guess that is a pretty close model. If Malik Monk doesn't go down, who knows what would have happened in the playoffs? Because if the Mavericks got there from the 5th seed, and their model seems similar, I think the difference is, and this is what I've talked about, it's just a level of bucket, and this isn't you're not going to find this metric. It's a level of bucket getters that the Mavericks have, and you have Luka
and the defense too.
Their defense did get better too, right?
A lot better
after the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So you have 2 bucket getters when things break down in Kyrie and Luka, and the difference is when things break down for the Kings, they don't have. Yeah, sure. We could call Malik and De'Aaron elite bucket getters, but they're not as elite as Kyrie and Luka. That's just what it is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's a huge difference, and it's something, I was kind of thinking about last night, watching Tatum try to take these ISOs. I'm like, he's missing a ton of them as well, but I'm like, I just don't know if this is something the Kings have. To your exactly what you just laid out, when the shots go cold and then it becomes all right, like y'all aren't biting on our looks, and there's not really any reason to, because we're missing them. Who's the get the bucket guys? And then are they exactly like you laid out? Are they a high enough level of bucket getter to where it can take you further and further in the playoffs?
Right.
I don't know, man. It's something we got to see. And, I think that's where the belief in De'Aaron Fox has to come in because, if you're talking just on surface level and if we're just talking as barbershop talk, I don't know how many people are going to take De'Aaron Fox over Kyrie Irving, over Luka, you could go down the list of a ton of stars that are guys' number one guys and our team's number one guys. And I just feel like De'Aaron, in a lot of people's minds outside of Sacramento is going to fall on the backside of it. It's just a matter of how good he can get at getting to his spots because we've seen him nail that mid-range jumper right above the free throw line. This year, he kind of abandoned it and turned it into a 3-point shot. That to me is going to really depend on, or that's going to determine, I should say, where De'Aaron is in the pantheon of everything. Because if he can get that shot, if it can be a true signature staple in his game, I think it's really, really dangerous and just as good as just about anybody's signature shot. He's also just got to get to the rim more. I mean, Doris was talking about it with Luka yesterday, and it definitely applies to De'Aaron. De'Aaron is so much better when he gets 2 feet in the lane, and it's just so disappointing to see how many times, not just him, but especially him, how many times this team in general just settled for jump shots instead of attacking the rim. So maybe that's something they need to address as well. Getting guys who can at least get to the bucket, collapse, and then, the Derek Lively element of it too. Kings don't have a lob threat. And so even when they get to the paint and they draw a ton of attention, Alex Len is like the only dude, and JaVale, of course, are the only two guys that they really trust to throw those things. I kind of think watching Derek Lively, the Kings could use a rim runner like that.
And it wasn't just the Kings.
Yeah.
Everybody was watching, and Hartenstein and guys like that are just doing the Birdman hands, just waiting in the wings there. The Kings reportedly have interest in Kyle Kuzma, Zach LaVine, and Caruso, says Action Network. We break down what they had to say, and what are your thoughts on the same old guys with the same old package? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out SactownSports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on SactownSports.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave inviting you to make the switch to electric this spring and save big with American Energy. Stay ahead of those spiking energy bills this summer with up to $9,000 in rebates on a new ultra-high efficiency comfort system. American Energy is providing huge rebates from SMUD as well as spring specials by installing one of many incredibly efficient AC options available to you right now. Get rid of those fluctuating gas bills in the winter and switch to year-round all-electric with American Energy. Let them perform a free in-home energy efficiency analysis and see where they can help you save for the warmer months ahead. These guys are the best. Been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ from the Better Business Bureau. Learn more by calling 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Coach Doug Christie here to remind you, if you're in the market for a new car, shop Folsom Lake Kia. Low interest rates, low payments, and zero down deals with approval of credit. Folsom Lake Kia, over 25 years, right here in Folsom.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Was on teamrankings.com with some of those stats, and they just differ slightly on NBA.com. So we went straight to the source. Celtics 3-pointers made per game, 16.5. Golden State Warriors 14.6. Dallas Mavericks 14.5. Sacramento Kings 14.3. So right there, they were all in the 14s. Boston Celtics making essentially two more than the teams below them. And then three-pointers attempted, you had Boston Celtics at 42.5 a game, the Dallas Mavericks at 39.4 a game, and the Kings at 39.1 a game, which makes it even funnier, Chris, looking at these numbers, seeing that the two top teams with the most three-point attempts were the two teams in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of where the league is going, and you got to be able to make your threes as well. That's a big part of it. And the Kings, while they were, what you said, third or fourth in attempts, they were 16th in efficiency. So that's the thing that's got, and we talked about it throughout the season, but like Kevin Huerter missing threes and Keegan Murray not being as efficient as he was from three, it's great to take them, but you got to make them in order for it to be worth anything. And the Kings just this season, for whatever reason, just could not hit their threes. And to me, that's the biggest reason why it felt like this team never really had a contending shot, is because their best thing wasn't working all year long. So if they can get that 3-point shooting back in order and like JaVale said, kind of have teams fear their offense, even though they do need to fear the Kings themselves. But if they can get back to a place where teams fear their offense, at the very least, they have that little feather in their cap.
And this is from Action Network, Matt Moore with a couple different breakdowns. And Chris, haven't even said anything yet. The text line from the 916, Levine and Kuzma, ? Barf. Well, who do you want, 916? This is what we always say when people say, well, I don't want this person, I don't want that person. Who is it that you want realistically? I'm not being sarcastic. I'm honestly just being honest. But here is the note. The Sacramento Kings are going back to the well with the same trade package they offered Toronto twice for OG Anunoby. By the way, OG Anunoby looks like he will test the free agent market. The Knicks could look a little silly if OG actually does leave. He goes on to say, and Pascal Siakam. The offer includes Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, and draft pick compensation. Stop if you've heard this one before. They are known to have had calls with Chicago involving Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso. The Kings would love to keep Malik Monk and will offer him the max they can at 4 years, $78 million, but they realistically won't be able to match offers from teams like Detroit, Charlotte, and Orlando, who are also known to have interest. That, in part, is what makes LaVine more attractive to them at a discounted price after his trade market value hit rock bottom at the deadline. After talks at the deadline, the Kings are expected to renew conversations with Washington for Kyle Kuzma, especially with the Wizards, potentially adding a front court starter in the draft later this month. Khalil, where? Come on down.
Where have we heard all this before? The Kings interested or should be interested in Zach LaVine, Alex Caruso, and Kyle Kuzma. It's almost like I said this like a month ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah, or like a couple weeks ago.
Yes, and one that was a question about the salary dump. Would they, as in the Bulls, be willing to move Caruso?
Yeah, that's the question. Is what is considered the Bulls giving up something in order to get rid of Zach LaVine? I'd much rather have Alex Caruso than any draft pick that Chicago could offer us. And I think the problem is, I think I saw a report the other day that, Chicago is really coveting Alex Caruso and they potentially would be looking at a first round pick, like a mid to high first round pick as the kind of value that they're looking for Caruso. If you can get it, I think that it's worth taking the LaVine contract. I know it's an absolute monster of a contract, but if you can get that done and get the Kuzma deal done as well, I just feel like that's the thing that takes this team to a different stratosphere. It sucks that you're going to have to pay Zach LaVine, I think $50 million the next 3 years, but at the very least, I would think that your roster is so talented that you won't need that cap space. That cap space is useless to you. You're going to be a tax-paying team anyway. You're only going to have the mid-level exception and even portions of the mid-level exception at that. So, you're going to still have ability to add people via free agency. I don't have a problem with it. I think that's the only way that this team can get the necessary amount of talent to truly compete. I think it's bold. I think it's crazy. I think, but like we said, or like I said earlier with Brad Stevens, you got to risk it at some point. Like if you want to slow build this thing, you're going to end up having players get hurt. They're going to, want to get traded or whatever. Things happen if you're going to try and have a 4 to 5 year build of this thing. At some point, you have to say, we want to strike while the iron's hot. There's been 4 different champions in the past 4 years. That's not typical of the NBA.
That's a good point.
We think that this is an opportunity for a random franchise to maybe sneak in a win, and maybe that's what the Kings look to do. Because if you're going to say, hey, we think De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis's window is 2 to 3, like they start their prime in a year or two, so we really want to be peaking in a year or two. Well, again, what happened? Domantas Sabonis has played 2 straight seasons of pretty much 82 games. What happens if he gets hurt next season? And then the season after that now has to become a rebuild, like not a rebuilding, but like hey, let's make sure this dude is back to his old ways or his old level. Just a lot of things can happen if you're going to do a slow build out. I think at some point, again, like we said about Brad Stevens, you got to be aggressive and you got to risk it for the biscuit. And if the Kings truly want to go from, cute, you're talking about winning championships and being a contender, to no, seriously, like these guys are in the top 3 of Western Conference teams. I think this is the exact kind of move that they have to at least kick the tires on, if not do what you can to get it done.
Right. I think, and I know some teams are high on this guy too, but I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago says, can I interest you in a Patrick Williams instead of Alex Caruso? But everybody's going to want Alex Caruso. And here's the other thing, Chris, as these numbers come out, and we can go back and forth on Jason Tatum, we know he's a stud. But, with the NBA and these TV deals and where this money is going, this is going to start to become the norm. And the idea of not wanting to pay guys, you don't want to overpay guys, but there are going to be guys that get overpaid. Yeah. And that's just how it is. And every deal can't be a great deal, right? Yeah. Are we even getting that value from Harrison Barnes? And you're not, are you overpaying Harrison Barnes? There's Kyle Kuzma. That deal we talked about with Jason Tatum, the Celtics will soon present as if it is a gift and he has to accept it or not. Jason Tatum with a 5-year, $315 million extension. That's an annual value of $63 million. Now he's Jason Tatum, and we get all that, but this is where this thing is going.
They're paying Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum $120 million a year between 2 players.
Nobody is complaining if there's a parade if you had to overpay for Zach LaVine.
Yeah,
that's just what it is.
If my math is correct here, Sabonis makes around $30 million. LaVine makes, let's say, 45. We'll just say 50 for round numbers' sake. 80 mil. Caruso, I believe, Kyle Kuzma makes 22 mil a year. That's we're at 100 mil. We're not even at, for those 3 players. Let's throw Caruso in there. Yeah. Caruso's on a $10 million deal. We're at $110 million for 4 players, while Boston's going to be paying 2 of them $120.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking. Like, if you want to compete, it is in a way a pay to play league.
It is.
We went through the payrolls and all that stuff. A lot of the best teams are the teams that spend the most money.
On the other side, and on the other side of the coin, the winners and the losers tunnel, we discussed the Mavericks and their model, how the Kings can approach the Mavericks model. And Jason Timp of The Volume thinks that the Mavericks might not get back. We'll hear what he has to say when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Malik Monk plays here.
Left, goes right, steps back, launches the 3. Nothing but net. Oh, that was just filthy. Oh, my, that was sweet.
Sactown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
NBA basketball returns to Golden One Center this July 6th, 7th, and 9th for the California Classic Summer League Games. 3-day passes in the lower level start at just $66 and include access to all 6 games. See your Sacramento Kings as they host the San Antonio Spurs and Charlotte Hornets, featuring newly drafted rookies, NBA sophomores, and other athletes competing to make NBA rosters. Visit kings.com/California Classic for more information and to buy your tickets today.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Maida Chevy saves you $12,000 off MSRP on every new half-ton Silverado LT Turbo Max. In stock after rebates. Always 5 to choose from.
Exclusive. All in-stock pricing at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See deal for details. N713.
2024.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Jerry and Kenny here from Bell Brothers. And if you've even thought of replacing your old, outdated, inefficient windows, now is the time to take action.
Right now at Bell Brothers, when you buy one window, you'll get the second one for 30% off. That's right. Buy one, get the second one 30% off.
That's real savings, up to $6,000. You have to buy at least 4 windows to qualify, and you can't mix windows and doors. But beyond that, every second window is 30% off.
For example, when you buy 10 windows, you will get 5 windows at 30% off. We also have 0% interest financing available for qualified buyers. Call for details.
To take advantage of our buy one, get one 30% off sale, call Bell Brothers now at 916-444-1234 or find us online at theNoSurpriseGuys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
The PGA club fitters at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth. And if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS has raised the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes in recent years. This hits hard if you're behind on your taxes. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. If you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
The Mavericks unable to get it done. What happens next for them? Real quick, guys, Simone and Chris, did you see that there is a stream botter? This seems more of something Chris might be able to help us with. There is a stream botter who is claiming and is posting receipts. These are mostly on academics type accounts, but they're blowing up, that Kendrick's manager paid this stream botter whatever amount of money to bot all those, because you know how Not Like Us broke all those YouTube records, right? He's claiming that he got cashed out, which I feel like
some professional hating.
And he posted these receipts. Obviously, I don't know what this stuff means.
Photoshop's a crazy place.
They tried to say that Kendrick fell for the okie doke with the fake daughter and things like that. But then Drake called somebody a snake for leaking that information. And then people said, well, Drake, if you leak that information on purpose, why are you calling somebody a rat? And now you have, so with that being said, you have Kendrick, who, do we really think his manager is dumb enough to pay a stream botter and knowing that he could just post these receipts?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or, hey, go ahead. Nobody's going to believe you anyway. Because I don't.
What do you got, Chris?
I just feel like it was, even vibe-wise, it felt like that song took over. Like, it's not, I don't think it was, like, crazy when I heard that Kendrick had broken all the streaming records or whatever it was. Like, it felt like it was the biggest thing in the world at the time, and the fact that it broke all the streaming records tracked. Like, so I I just don't think it's true. Like, I don't think that he needed the bots in order for it to happen. It would be like, it'd be like, now we know this isn't true, but as a hypothetical, it'd be like if Barry Bonds took steroids. It's like, man, you don't need to. You definitely didn't need to juice the numbers.
Right.
You already had the talent there, and the product was there. You just had to keep it playing. So, of course that didn't happen, but that's the only thing that I could think of. No, I just don't think that's true. Why would it be true?
I don't know. I just don't know why it would be true, knowing that people don't care and knowing that
Dave is still quoting the song.
Exactly.
Like, everybody heard the song.
Right. So, yeah, that came out yesterday and everybody is saying he juiced the numbers. He juiced the numbers. You got anything, Simone?
I was going to say, did you guys, and forgive me if you talked about this yesterday, I saw that video of the kids at like a party were all singing it. So
yeah.
I'm like, the impact, if you made it to the children, like
well, there's a Kids Bop version.
Yeah.
Which Dave also loves.
I just don't believe that bots were cooking any books or
numbers. And then I'm gonna allow you to take screenshots and post it so everyone, and again, maybe it's, hey, go ahead, no one's gonna believe it's so big now thanks to you that Drake's fans can believe, oh, he cooked the books, whatever, and ultimately doesn't really make a difference.
Sounds like some hating to me. It sounds like a Drake plant to me. We know Drake's got some stands out there.
Yes.
Wouldn't be out of character for them to make things up.
Yes, and Drake was at his son's soccer game.
Did you see? Yeah, him and his dad, like, they went full like country and like
they
had cowboy hats and boots and everything.
They seem confused.
What is going on?
I think Kendrick broke him.
Got an identity crisis.
I think Drake is broken right now. But I did hear that Drake is coming out with a song very soon. I don't know if that's a beef song or just get back. Just get back to what you do best, Drake. As the Mavericks are going to try to get back to what they do best, and that's rim running and putting the biscuit in the basket if you're Luka and Kyrie, and they were unable to do that at the clip that they needed to in order to get their ring. And as a lot of people think, Chris, okay, the Mavericks, they'll be back, right? They got Luka, who is probably one of the best players in the league, and some people think will be one of the best players to ever play. You got Kyrie. You went, again, most skilled backcourt of all time, and now all of a sudden there are people out there that aren't sure that they will be able to continue. Here is Jason Timp of The Volume, and he thinks it's going to be hard for the Mavericks to get back.
I don't think this Dallas Mavericks team is close. You kind of mentioned this in your opening.
I don't either.
Piece.
I don't either.
I don't think they're close. I think that they caught some really favorable matchups out in the Western Conference. I think they're good. I think there was a tier of teams beneath Denver where all the West was, and they managed to kind of weave their way through that with some favorable matchups, right? But like, I think Denver would have beaten them pretty soundly in the Western
don't match up
Finals.
with
I think they
Denver.
would have gotten them.
And the other thing we have to admit, Jason, is because of Luka's ball usage, I felt like he wasn't healthy for the last two series. He looked fatigued. He looked beat up. So again, when Kyrie's not delivering, it becomes very Luka dominant. I thought you were getting about 80% of Luka in this finals. And that's why the Celtics work, is that Tatum wasn't good in the first two games. He and Brown were both good in game three. Tonight, Tatum was superior. I mean, there were nights that Derek White, Pritchard before the half, like, it's symphonic watching Boston. They're just handing the baton off. Man, Luka, he had that baton out multiple times and nobody grabbed it. This felt like a magical moment in time for Dallas, but there's some real flaws here.
That is what I'm kind of caught up on, because they did it. They got to the finals, right? But after that, do I feel like if I'm the same guy who didn't think that Denver was going to be a dynasty or go back-to-back, why in the world would I think that Dallas, who did get incredibly hot, it's the same question that we had with the Lakers, but they got to the finals. When the Lakers got to the Western Conference Finals, it was, okay, they revamped this team. Now all of a sudden, is this who they are now, how they ended the season? Is this who the Mavericks are now? I'm really torn on this, Chris. I have no clue what to do with the Mavericks. And there aren't, to what you've been saying and why people have been going back and forth on what the Mavericks did versus what the Kings did at the trade deadline, they're a bit hamstrung on what they can do moving forward.
Yeah, I don't really believe in the Mavericks moving forward. I think that they've maximized their talent here, and I think this and next year they're gonna run it back this offseason. Like you said, they don't really have a choice with the fact they don't have any of their first round picks anymore. And it's really interesting. I want to touch on what Colin was getting at there with the Luka usage, because that was the same thing that was said about LeBron when he went to Cleveland, and that's where Kyrie was supposed to take over. Mm-hmm. Kyrie is meant to be that secondary ball handler that could, in theory, take the ball out of the superstar's hands. And yeah, I think he's dead on by saying that, when Kyrie's not hitting his shot, and he was really bad last night, and he was terrible in Boston the entire series, they don't stand a chance. And, it's really a question of how much do you believe in Kyrie anymore, or how much do you believe in Kyrie at all, if you ever did? Because to me, yeah, they can't win a title or get back to even the finals if Kyrie isn't going to be great, and they need PJ Washington to have a great series, and they need Derrick Jones Jr. to have a couple of good games, and they need Dante Exum to show up in a couple games, and they probably need Derek Lively to show up in a couple games as well.
Yeah.
That's a lot of things that they need working in their favor, and I just think with how talented the West is, it was their year this year, but they got really lucky with, I would say lucky with PJ Washington hitting the threes that he hit in that OKC series, and Derrick Jones Jr. being as good as what he was in that OKC series as well. I just think they got really hot at the right times this offseason or this postseason, and I just think there's so much talent in the West. I don't think this crew is good enough to just say they're the team to beat in the West. I think OKC is going to be a bigger threat than them next year. I definitely think Minnesota is going to be a bigger threat. I have Denver as a bigger threat than them. Look out for Memphis. I think they can maybe, especially with what they do with their pick, they could make a big leap next year. They're just not at the forefront. I think that they're probably right where they were at the end of the season. They're like the 5th, maybe 6th scariest team to me in the West. And that's without other teams making moves yet. So, if the Kings do make a couple moves here, I could see them realistically being in the same conversation as where Dallas was last year. And that's where, like we talked about up top, that's where luck can then fall into the Kings' lap, hopefully. And maybe they could have a version of what the Lakers, or hopefully what Dallas just did.
When we get back, the path for the Kings, as we look at the models for the Celtics and the Mavericks, we continue that conversation and we get into some NBA draft talk. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
My good friends, Dr. Jack Friedlander and Dr. Pash in Roseville and in San Francisco are offering not only confidence, not only security, but also the ability, if you ain't insecure, to go from the roster to the all-star team. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about UpsizeMatters.com. Time after time, vote after vote, circumference, or as we call it, girth, is consistently ranked as the most important attribute. And Dr. Jack and Dr. Pash can give you a free consultation. The procedure can be done on the same day as your consultation with immediate results. It's non-surgical. It's virtually pain-free, safe, effective, long-lasting, semi-permanent, and doctor-performed. For more information, go to UpsizeMatters.com. Go to UpsizeMatters.com. Make that change. Make the all-star team. Get your girth on.
NBAstore.com, the official online store of the NBA, and the world's largest selection of officially licensed NBA fan gear. With unique designs by Fanatics, Nike, and all the latest styles for every NBA team, plus one-of-a-kind products and authentic collectibles. Shop now and get today's special offer. NBAstore.com, a Fanatics experience.
Sacramento, Dirk Bentley is coming to town.
Hey y'all, this is Dirk Bentley.
Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo for Country in the Park 2. And he's bringing some friends.
This is Family. Take my hand, let me make you mine.
Hey, it's Dasha. Kelsey Hart, and more. Saturday, September 28th at Heart Health Park at Cal Expo. Get your tickets before they sell out at CITPFest.com. Brought to you by Hyatt Vacation Club and Xfinity.
Save on rows and rows of new Hondas during our giant summer sale at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Ridgeline, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing strategies that deliver results. On your next campaign, aim higher. Go to aimyourdigital.com and get started today. aimyourdigital.com.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Al Horford from Mark J. Spears, Boston Celtics center Al Horford. His first title included the longest wait by any NBA champion ever. And he was an inspiration to his native Dominican Republic. The faith-centered 38-year-old also envisions playing into his 40s. You can see Mark Spears' piece on that on Anscape.com. So now that record goes to another guy people like to joke about. James Harden is now the active record holder with 166 playoff games without a championship. I was really confused with Al Horford, Chris, because the last time we saw Al Horford in the finals, he made all those threes, and I think it was game one where Derek that wasn't, I wouldn't say, I guess if you don't watch a lot of Celtics basketball, when Derek White made all those threes, Derek White and Al Horford made all those threes in the Bay when they went off against the Warriors and won that game one. I think a lot of people at that time thought it was a fluke from Derek White. I mean, I think people thought Derek White was a good player, but they didn't see this, and they didn't see what he's become. Al Horford had a really confusing finals because he starts out hot. He's making the threes with his interesting looking jump shot. Then towards the end, the Warriors decide to get away from their offense, if you will, and just throw him into pick and rolls with Steph, and they just had no answer. So after that happens, you had the Time Lord situation with Robert Williams. Where is Al Horford going to fit? Then you bring in Porzingis. Porzingis gets injured, and Al Horford really just was the steady piece of that ship for the Celtics, and he's now a champion. And not just a champion. We joked about the guys that got rings who didn't have to do anything. Al Horford produced for the Celtics, even when we didn't know what he would be, adding Porzingis and guys like that. So shout out to Al Horford.
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved Al. Al Horford is one of my favorite players, I think, of this generation. I just always loved how he plays. He's like the perfect modern day big man. He provides switchability defensively. His basketball IQ is arguably second to none. He's incredibly smart, and he can shoot. I mean, I think he's everything that you would ever want in a modern day center. People forget about those Atlanta years where he was the catalyst of those teams as well. It didn't work out in Philly, but I don't necessarily think that was his fault. I think it was just a terrible roster construction. I think he is just one of the most underrated players that we've had in basketball these past 10, 15 years. And, I have fond memories of him winning at Florida too, with Joakim Noah and Corey Brewer and all them. It's just great that Al finally gets a trophy because, again, he just felt like he's the ultimate guy that you would want on a championship team. And just made so much sense and has made so many big plays for the Celtics. So definitely hat tip to Al Horford. And we know that's Brendan's favorite player too. He's got an Al Horford jersey. Yes. The only human in Sacramento who's got an Al Horford Celtics jersey.
That's right. So, hey, another guy who you find a way to get him to the Celtics, and he's been that kind of steady Eddie dude for you. And now James Harden is on an island as the active record holder with 166 playoff games without a championship. But it wasn't just Al Horford, who brought a lot to this Celtics team. Big payday for Drew Holiday. 6 bonuses earned for Drew Holiday, all defensive player. Games played, minutes played, games and rebounds. NBA Finals and an NBA championship comes to $2.8 million.
What is that like?
Yeah.
Do you think he knew that? Like, he probably didn't know the exact number, but you have to know that like those bonuses are in your contract, right?
Yes.
Like, come on. To just like, I mean, that just makes the champagne taste even better. Everything about it. I wonder when he gets paid that, because that would definitely be a date where I would celebrate. I would have my own secondary celebration and all that stuff just to get a $2.8 million bag. I mean, shout out him. He was great this entire season. To get all of those accolades while being their 4th option, I think is incredible. And, they talked about it yesterday on the broadcast, but the amount of sacrifice that he's had to give up, not only here in Boston, but in Milwaukee as well. Like, Drew Holiday is going to be another guy where, we're going to look at his Hall of Fame resume and we're going to say, like, is he a Hall of Famer? But the fact that he was on two of these title teams and is incredibly important to both of them. And I think I heard a clip of Jeff Teague the other day, or actually it might have been your boy Jalen Brunson on his wonderful podcast, that them wondering, like, how is this guy never won Defensive Player of the Year?
Right.
Because he is the best defender in the NBA. And that's something De'Aaron Fox has said multiple times, that Drew Holiday is the toughest guy to go against in the entire league. So shout out Al, shout out Drew Holiday. And those are the kind of guys where you need those kind of guys on every championship roster, the gritty, the do-it-all kind of guys. That's the kind of guy that Alex Caruso is, frankly, and that's why I think so many teams are out there trying to get a guy like him.
Yeah, and I'm thinking here, Chris, because, we were talking, and a little bit later, we're going to get into some draft talk. That's in about 10 minutes. Don't forget, 1 hour at 1 o'clock, you can see the Kings, the California Classic Summer League, July 6th, 7th, and 9th, a 4-pack of 3-day passes. That's at 1 o'clock. But, after we kind of discuss the draft, we're going to get into getting another guard, right? And why I feel like there is a path to the Kings getting another guard. Not that I want a guard, but just based on what I'm hearing and what is being said. And you look at a guy like Drew Holiday and what he brings to the table. So, Chris, he averages 12.5 points a game, 5.4 rebounds, 4.8 assists, and he shot 48% from the floor. In the regular season, he played 32 minutes. He scored 12.5, like I mentioned, and he was 42.9% from 3-ball land. And if you ask about Drew Holiday, would you call him a creator offensively?
No. I mean, he's a point guard, so he has some natural playmaking ability, but I don't think that's like where his bread is buttered.
So when I look at Drew Holiday and what he brings to the table, and he goes 6'4", he's a shady 6'4", by the way. I did not think he goes 6'4".
You thought he was shorter than that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, no,
I thought he was 6'4", 205. And you mentioned these guards and what guards can bring to the table. I'm looking back at the Kings roster thinking, is there a path for Keon Ellis here? Now that I'm seeing the 6'4", I don't think Davion can get there. I'm just trying to find the found money on the Kings.
I mean, Keon definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say he's got Drew Holiday potential. The thing that makes Drew is his strength. Like, Drew is a freaking beast of a dude. And that's what De'Aaron talks about all the time as well. Is just like the physicality that Drew Holiday brings makes him just a monster to go against. Keon can be a disruptor, but he's not that strong. Keon's making almost no money either. He's making like $3 million a year.
Yeah,
so that's
I know you saw that picture. He's looking yoked.
Yes, but he will not get to Drew Holiday level. There's just a certain amount of natural strength that Keon definitely does not have. People say De'Aaron, though. De'Aaron is shady strong. I think Halliburton said that actually in a pod, that De'Aaron is like one of the sneaky strongest guys in the NBA. I think it's De'Aaron. I mean, if you're looking for who's going to be potentially a Drew Holiday. To me, it's a version of De'Aaron Fox. Like De'Aaron's 6'4", and like I said, has some sneaky strength to him. Is pretty much built just like Drew Holiday. It's just Drew is a lot more defensive minded and definitely less so offensive, though there is stuff in his bag he doesn't show. That would be the closest comp, but I think De'Aaron's leaned so much into scoring now that I think that ship has kind of sailed. But I do think in a different universe, if the Kings have a Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, I do think De'Aaron could play off that role pretty well. And I think that there's still some defensive potential there for De'Aaron that's a little untapped.
I did not think De'Aaron, and I know we talk about the steals and and De'Aaron's probably a little underrated defensively from the national media, not from local, but yeah, just two guys and Al Horford and Drew Holiday where they just hit on all cylinders, man.
Yeah.
That whole team, it just was complete.
Yeah.
What was the whole?
Big man, probably. I mean, yeah, again, if they would have gone against a Joel Embiid, they would have had their hands full. They wouldn't have known what to do. And that's the thing that Philly fans were holding out hope for. It's the reason why it's so frustrating when Embiid gets hurt every year, because he presents something like Jokic, where it's like, there's no answer. People just have to let him cook and give you 40 and 15 and just hope that the other guys don't make shots. And so if you can get a dominant big man, that's the key for beating the Celtics. I just don't think anybody else really has it besides Denver and Philly. And, maybe you could argue Milwaukee, but I think those two opponents have seen each other so many times that Boston has a pretty good recipe of how to slow down Giannis. That's why that Jonas Valanciunas shout is pretty decent. I just don't know if Boston's going to have the money for it, but Jonas is maybe somebody who would be willing to take less to be on a championship team.
Coming up next, it's time for some draft talk. Yahoo has it for us today, Yahoo NBA. And after that, based on who they are saying the Kings will take, maybe it's time to go down the path of the Kings taking yet another guard. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
It's the Make This the Summer event, and it's going on now at Lodi Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Hi everyone, Leonard Harrington here, and I want to tell you how we make your buying experience at Lodi CDJR as easy as possible. You can come in for a visit, or you can do everything online at LodiCDJR.com. Just pick out the make and model you want and scroll through our large in-stock inventory. Next, schedule a test drive at the click of a button. If you want to finance your vehicle, you can start your paperwork online too, saving you plenty of time before you get here. And if you're looking to sell your vehicle or looking to buy, we'll give you an instant cash offer online too. At Lodi Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, we make it easier than ever to put you into a new vehicle. It's what we do. Online at LodiCDJR.com or in person. We're right off 99 in Kettleman, where we're open till 9 every night and Sundays after church.
Prices are better at the Low Price Center. Lodi Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Visit us at LodiCDJR.com.
Yeah!
Celebrate Sacramento River Cats baseball during our 25th anniversary season. Pick your favorite weekly promotion, giveaway game, or theme night, and join the fun at Sutter Health Park. Stick around post-game every Friday and Saturday night as we light up the sky with the brightest fireworks in town. For a full promotion schedule and to buy tickets, visit rivercats.com. We'll see you there.
If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Because now at Staples, you can save up to $50 on your print purchase. From posters and flyers to signs and menus, Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. And with Staples Print Perfect Guarantee, it's done right or it's printed again free. Plus, same-day service is available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. Get it printed right at Staples. And now get up to $50 off your print purchase. And 7/6, visit staples.com/print for details.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Kyle Draper from Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. I can't tell you how much I love my new SUV. It is truly amazing, and I got special news just for you. Right now at Mercedes-Benz of Stockton, you can receive your first month's payment up to $1,500 on them on select new 2024 GLE vehicles. Or how about the all-new E-Class right now at Mercedes-Benz of Stockton? They have over 80 pre-owned vehicles in stock, including off-brand trucks, SUVs, and sedans. And they have rates starting at 1.99% APR on select certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz. And Mercedes-Benz of Stockton has a Vans Fleet Center with rates starting at 4.9% APR plus customer bonus cash incentives on approved credit. Head on over to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton, just off I-5, or online at mbfstockton.com.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios. KHTKAM Sacramento. KYMX HD2 Sacramento. Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
Sactown Sports.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
And Chris, I promise I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but I'm looking here. If my research is correct, the 1956-1957 NBA season, which is when the Celtics won their first championship, there were 8 teams in the league.
Okay, so you're trying to say that the title counts for less?
I just don't really know what to do with it. It's just a running around saying 18 titles.
But you're trying to say that because there's less teams that it means less. But let me throw it back at you that if there's less teams, that means that the teams are then more concentrated with talent. You could argue that now it means less.
Want to tell JJ that?
I will, yeah, absolutely.
Want to tell JJ that?
The fact that you can have Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, freaking, Wilt Chamberlain all on the same team, like, in the Celtics, they had like 8 of the best players of that era on that team. And so it's like, if anything, it's tougher to win. I guess you could argue if your team is one of the stacked ones, it's easier. But I would argue that the talent pool is more concentrated then. And so there should have been more parity, and there wasn't. That's how dominant they were.
Yeah.
There was only 1 of 8 teams. And,
I'm really surprised you're on this side of things. I'm actually genuinely surprised.
Why are you surprised that what is surprising about being on the side of these guys won titles and so they should keep the titles?
I'm not saying don't keep them. I'm saying
put them in a different category, or
maybe.
What's your answer? Hey, we do this with trades. You can't just say you don't want Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah.
What do you want then?
Fine.
You don't want them to have the titles.
Make eras.
Okay.
Make eras.
Okay. What other sport does that, though? Like do you have a problem with the Yankees counting Mickey Mantle titles or whatever? Or
kind of.
Babe Ruth titles?
It's not a problem.
Okay.
It's not a problem.
Because the league was integrated. It's not as if it was.
Wide as Magic. Oh, darn. Now they have one more than us. Who cares? That stuff
they do.
You dust it off, man.
That's what we like call champagne problems.
Maybe not Magic because he actually was on the Lakers, but Celtics fans.
Yeah.
And who cares?
They do. I mean, that's champagne problems. Like when they're arguing about who's literally the best.
But Chris, they're arguing. They haven't even looked up these highlights. They don't even care.
They care a lot. They care a lot.
I guess 8 teams, really?
8 teams. Yep.
18. One team from each conference didn't make the playoffs. One team. The 16 playoffs.
Yeah.
16.
Sounds tough. I don't know what you want.
I don't either.
I'm not taking titles away from them.
I'm not trying to take the titles.
You're just trying to separate them.
I'm just trying to, like I said, AD and BC.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But again, like the league was in it. Like what's the line? Like what is the reason for the line? There has to be hey, these plumbers stopped. You had everybody in the league stopped having a second job.
So you're not in the plumbers.
No, I'm not in the plumbers camp. Absolutely.
How are you not in the plumbers camp?
Because I've really seen these guys' numbers and I've heard the stories of how they played and I've seen some highlights and they're no joke. I mean,
I really thought you'd be in the plumbers camp.
No, I mean, there's a lot of.
I don't think I know you at all.
I guess not. I mean, if you didn't know that I love NBA history, and I'm not gonna discredit it for no reason just because it's old.
Oh, they won again.
Your argument is that it's
their
old,
second title,
so it shouldn't count.
8 teams again.
Yeah,
8 teams again in 1958 and 59.
Maybe if we could say pre 3-point era or something. I guess maybe you might have an argument there.
Yeah.
But, even then, I think Magic and Larry's first year in the league, if I'm not mistaken, there was no 3-point lines.
Okay, so let me ask this. So how do you feel what you just said, and maybe there's a difference between the Rochester Royals and then the actual Sacramento Kings. But do you feel like my team – so do you walk around saying my team has a title?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's because they played in Rochester and they were in Omaha or whatever in between then and now. And the Sacramento Kings are a very specific team.
Okay. If before last night,
the
Celtics, and I know it's not that long ago, so I'm trying to think of a better, I guess, way to compare it. But if you have the Celtics, right? They have all these championships, but the last one was 08, right? So 08, obviously they won. But are you walking around if you're a Celtics fan? Yeah, we got 17 titles.
Probably, yeah. Why would you not? You have 17 titles.
Chris, but you yourself,
yeah.
I mean, you weren't even around.
Yeah. So I don't count it. It only counts if I'm alive during the title?
It counts either way, but what's so cool? The point about talking about titles is that you got to enjoy it.
No, it's that your team is incredibly successful, and I'm following a line of winners. That's what like to flex your total championships. It's
I flex parades. I got to go to the parade. I got to experience it.
That probably speaks more to you. Like, I don't know. Like, if to say your team has won a ton of titles is to say, dude, my team has been better than everybody their entire time. It's like, not only are we good now, we have always been good. We are inevitable.
So you've been told.
No. So I read, so I saw,
maybe you did. Maybe
I don't know what you're arguing.
It just bugs me.
That's fine. It can bug you, but you can't take it away. You can't hide the banners.
Take it away, but I don't count it the same.
Okay.
8 teams, Chris.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. As the Kings look to get number 1, if you ask Chris Watkins, they're going to need to do it by making this roster better. And the easiest way to make the roster better is by drafting correctly. And the Yahoo NBA mock draft is out, Chris. I'll throw it to you to break down who's going ahead of the Kings and who the Kings are going to select.
Yes. Real quick here. Yeah, this is from yahoo.com. And it is a new name that we have not discussed before. I don't think at all. This person was in, I think, for a workout here recently. But that's all that we've really seen from them. Number 1 going Zachary Reese-Sachet. Number 2 going Washington Wizards Alex Sarr. And I was telling you earlier yesterday that I've been hearing a lot of whispers that the Atlanta Hawks could potentially flip everything, just like everything was in that Keegan Murray draft when Orlando took Paolo Banchero, and that seemingly came out of nowhere the day of. Hearing a lot of Donovan Clingan hype at number 1 these days. This mock draft has him going number 3 to Houston, number 4 Stephon Castle going to San Antonio, number 5 Mateus Buzelis going to Detroit, number 6 Reed Shepherd going to the Charlotte Hornets, number 7 Cody Williams, that's really high for him. Number 8, talk about really high, Tajon Salon going number 8 to the San Antonio Spurs. Number 9, Memphis Grizzlies taking Dalton Knecht. 10, Devin Carter, against just seems to be cementing himself in that top 10. Number 11, Khalil Ware going to Chicago Bulls. Number 12, Jacoby Walter going to the OKC Thunder. That's a lot of fan favorites off the board before the Kings even select. And with that 13th selection, the Sacramento Kings in this Yahoo NBA mock draft are taking Carlton Bub Carrington, freshman guard that is, out of Pittsburgh, 6'5", 190. And the write-up in Yahoo is Carrington was projected a mid to late first-round pick all season and has catapulted to the lottery during workouts and team meetings. He has great size and is so productive offensively, playing on or off the ball. His shot selection needs some fine-tuning, but there's a lot of teams in that 10 to 20 range that love his I think they meant upside. And that's somebody who, again, is seemingly climbing up draft boards. If I'm looking at his scouting profile, his strengths are his shiftiness and agility. Bub has that elusive, hard-to-guard movement that keeps defenders guessing. His size and scoring at 6'5" and a solid wingspan. He's built for scoring from anywhere, close, mid-range, or beyond the arc. He's a clutch scorer, not just a scorer. Bub knows how to take and make the big shots when it counts. His shot mechanic is also a strength. Creativity off screens, rebounding and transition, and defensive potential. Some of his weaknesses are his shot selection, his consistency, hero ball tendencies, and physicality. The NBA comparison is Bub's game has shades of
I was going to guess.
D'Angelo Russell's
and I was not going to guess that.
Scoring touch, Anthony Simons's explosive play, and a bit of Marshawn Brooks' style. He's a scorer through and through, but will need to round out his game to truly make it in the big league. And after reading that, that just tells me that yet again, Alan, we have stumbled on a Malik Monk replacement selection. That's what I'm reading from that. That just reads as, hey, you need a 6-man who's just going to come in, go crazy. He might shoot you in the game. He might shoot you out of a game, but he's definitely a scorer through and through. I don't hate it. I don't love it. He's 6'5", so maybe he could play shooting guard, maybe slide over to the 3 in some cases. I haven't seen a lot of Bub Carrington. Again, this is the first time we've seen him mock to the Kings, so I don't know a ton about him.
I mean, he's cooking.
But off the read, it seems like he is just an unafraid scorer. And a lot of times those guys will find some sort of role in the NBA, kind of dude who's definitely going to cook during summer league. And, it sounds like maybe as a floor, we're talking about like a taller Cam Thomas, which is intriguing to me. I haven't really watched his game much, but definitely sounds like the kind of guy who just lights up a scoreboard. And maybe he can become like a Jordan Clarkson or like a Malik Monk scorer off the bench.
Chris, real quick, just because we're talking about guards, remind me, did you say Rob Dillingham?
No, he was not in that. He is mocked somewhere in there, but no, not before the Sacramento Kings pick. So they actually pass on Rob Dillingham. And in this mock draft, they have Rob Dillingham going 16 to the Philadelphia 76ers, pairing him with fellow Kentucky backcourt mate, I guess you could say. What is his name?
Tyrese?
Tyrese Maxey. Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I initially thought that player comparison was going to be, Tyrese Maxey, but Bub Carrington. But yeah, the Dillingham slide is wild, Chris. It's kind of crazy to think. I mean, and you got Bub Carrington going at 6'5". I just think that's ultimately the issue with Rob Dillingham. These smaller guards, you're hoping you get a Darius Garland, and even so, at that point, that's a 2.
Yeah,
that's a 2 as far as being the option on the team. So we'll get into more of that and why. It's not that I agree, but I'm starting to see a path to the Kings drafting a guard. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Subscribe to Sactown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sactown Sports.
My good friends, Dr. Jack Friedlander and Dr. Pash in Roseville and in San Francisco are offering not only confidence, not only security, but also the ability, if you ain't insecure, to go from the roster to the all-star team. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about UpsizeMatters.com. Time after time, vote after vote, circumference, or as we call it, girth, is consistently ranked as the most important attribute. And Dr. Jack and Dr. Pash can give you a free consultation. The procedure can be done on the same day as your consultation with immediate results. It's non-surgical. It's virtually pain-free, safe, effective, long-lasting, semi-permanent, and doctor-performed. For more information, go to UpsizeMatters.com. Go to UpsizeMatters.com. Make that change. Make the all-star team. Get your girth on.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
It all comes down to timing in life. Speaking of timing, 45 minutes will be the time to get your family 4-pack of 3-day passes to the California Classic, the 6th annual California Classic Summer League on July 6th, 7th, and July 9th with an expanded lineup of teams preparing for NBA action. Chris and I are going to get you in the building. That is at 1 p.m. And who will be on Team A or Team B, as it was reported yesterday that the Kings will have 2 teams throughout the Summer League schedule. And Chris, the more I think about this situation with the Kings and really the two sides of, hey, just because you don't have something, do you continue to draft or do you just power through? Are we really hoping and thinking that some of the guards that the Kings already have, whether it's Keon Ellis or Colby Jones or Davion Mitchell, can they really improve enough that you won't miss another guard? And I think the biggest part here, Chris, is the timing of everything.
Yeah.
And when you look at the draft and when the draft is going to happen versus free agency, can you afford to take a big or take a wing that cannot initiate offense? Not to say that you can't draft a wing that can't initiate offense. Maybe you do find someone like that, but can you actually draft someone that will not be able to handle the ball and Malik Monk leaves a couple weeks after that? How would the Kings be able to survive that? And when I do see, not that I want to do this, but when you do see a Rob Dillingham start to drop and you look around and you think, okay, I mean, look, we know the size is the size, but would somebody be convinced you really could lose Malik Monk? I could see a path of the Kings drafting a guard. And it really comes down to who's going to be available, who they think is available, and how much in their heart of hearts they believe Malik Monk is going to stay or is going to walk. I do think when you have any situation, Chris, not to say that your gut is always right, but they've had conversations expressing their gut feelings. And I think that this draft is going to tell us, then they might trade the pick, but I think this draft is going to tell us how much they believe deep down in their heart of hearts, whether or not Malik is going to stay or not.
Yeah, I hear it. I just don't think that that's the route I would think they should go. Mm-hmm. I just don't think that if you're trying to draft a Malik Monk replacement, I just think that that's a lot of hope for that number 30. Like, we took Davion at 9 in a draft that was a lot better than this. And, Davion ended up being a solid bench role playing point guard. If you're going at 13 and this is already a weak draft and you're going into that pick and thinking, hey, we're going to replace our 6th man of the year with somebody, I just think that's too high of expectations for the first season. Like, maybe they can develop into that, but I just think I would much rather. We've talked about the Jordan Clarkson route. He's reportedly available for trade from Utah. If the Kings strike out on Malik, I just would much rather. I think that they're in a position to where they need to get the veteran guys. They can't be relying on young guys for that important of a role. I think if they are going to use the 13th pick, you have to take that person, to me, with the understanding that they're going to be 8th, 9th guy in the rotation. And if they're anything more than that, that's awesome. This team needs to get more veterans and more guys that they know what they're bringing to the table, instead of guys that they hope they can bring this to the table, or they, plan to eventually get to the point where they bring that to the table. I just think it's too big of a risk. And yeah, if Malik Monk walks, to me, you're not replacing him, period. I think you have to go either try and replace him with the Clarkson option, or I seriously think you can shift completely and just say, look, we were an offensive identity when we had Malik. Now that we don't have him, it gives us an opportunity to maybe bring in more guys who fit the Mike Brown style of play. And those are the defensive minded guys who, yeah, you can shoot as well, but and maybe to address your playmaking problem, you still need to address that at some point with somebody, but I wouldn't address it in the draft.
Yeah, I don't think you should. I'm fearful of, I guess, panic mode. And if they have a list and the wings on that list and Khalil Ware, some of the bigger players are gone, and they start thinking, okay, well, we can get, Rob Dillingham, he was a top 5 pick just a couple weeks ago. Why don't we just go ahead and take the chance, right?
It's gotten them in trouble in the past.
We're probably going to try to move Davion or one of the, and we always forget about Kevin Huerter, one of the guards anyway. I don't want them to, and I've been on record saying I don't want them to. I can just see, unfortunately, I can see how they could convince themselves that it could make sense. And I don't know who's doing all of that convincing, but I do think that I could see a world where Simone plays the music again and the draft comes in and it's one of these guards. And I think the other thing, Chris, is I want to make sure that if we're taking this time to read off these mock drafts, as much as I would feel that we're extremely plugged into what's happening here, that a lot of these people that are taking time to do this, they're also not shooting from the hip. And if so many people that we've seen are selecting the Kings or choosing the Kings and thinking that they're going to take a guard, I'm starting to think, is there a little bit of smoke to this fire? Or it'll tell us a lot about these mock drafts in the future. Are people just
they're just
guessing?
Yeah, they're throwing it out there. They don't have inside sources or anything like that. They're just reading situations and trying to plug and play off of how they're reading how these teams are stacked up. And if you read a lot of these write-ups, a lot of them are with the assumption Malik is gone. And I think it's really as simple as that they just see, oh, Malik is going to be gone, and they have Harrison Barnes, they have Keegan Murray, they have Trey Lyles. They're probably not going to take another forward, but I think that that's just not a good read of the situation. I think we know that Harrison is a big point of improvement, and I do think maybe if there weren't other forwards available like Tristan da Silva or even, Ron Holland is somebody who continues to slip in this draft process as well. if those guys are going to be available, I just think it makes a ton of more sense to go and get those guys versus any other point guards or guards in general, because we've done the math, and your guard that you take, even if you really, really like Isaiah Collier, Jared McCain, whoever it is, they're going to be second, maybe even third on the depth chart at best. And so I just don't see how you're going to view. I think they're going to take Zach Edey more than I think they're going to take a guard. I just think that this team understands size is the thing that they need more than anything. And of course they're going to need ball handlers, but I just think ball handlers you can go and find. You can't find these long rangy guys who can shoot and or have some other impact on the game. We've talked about point guards being a dime a dozen these days too. I just think that it's not, it just wouldn't be good asset management. And it's not really what this team needs. This team has so many guards. I don't know what another young guard does for them.
Yeah. And even if you want to look at the different wings and say, hey, we do feel like Malik might leave, so let's prioritize a wing that maybe has plus ball handling over a wing that has plus shooting.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That's fine too. But that length conversation, and these guards at best they're getting to 6'5", which is cool enough. But I do get scared when you see a Rob Dillingham start to drop and you fire up that mixtape and you start thinking, I mean, look at what we did with Malik Monk, 2 years ago. So I don't want them to. You know who I want, and now all of a sudden Tejan Salon is going to be too far, but I love or already going to be gone, but I love your Tristan da Silva. I love the guys that we have brought up, and I do think it's an interesting call that you said Zach Edey might get selected before they go in the guard. So basically, long story short, you think two things. Number one, they've learned from their mistakes, if you want to call it that. And number two, you don't think that their thought process, because they already have the logjam of guards, would be, we lost something with Malik. We need to replace that. At least not through the draft.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just feel like there's other ways of replacing Malik if you are going to do it, and the draft is just such a crapshoot that I wouldn't look at any sort of definite solution, especially not in this draft. I would just try and take a guy that, you hope can be a part of the rotation. And if he ends up being better than that, that's great. But I just see a more obvious spot open at that backup forward position versus, again, like I think you said it, like maybe if if the plan is to get Davion to Washington or whatever in a Kuzma trade or whatever, I understand that a little bit more. But as the team is currently constructed, you have Fox, you have Davion, you have Herter, you have Keon Ellis, you have Colby Jones, you potentially have Malik Monk. That's 6 guys who are playing for 2 guard spot. Only 2 of them can be on the floor, maybe 3 at the same time. I just think there's already enough pieces there. And I think forwards are the thing that sets you apart anyway. And if you look at the finals, or even just the contending teams, I don't know if you can afford, and this is maybe even a Malik Monk conversation, I don't know if in the deep rounds you can afford to have 2 6'4" and under guys as your backcourt.
Yeah, and somebody on the Sac Chat just said, if you look at the Celtics, Jason Tatum and the wings are handling the balls most of the time anyway.
Absolutely.
Bringing it up the floor. So how important is it? We need a small guy to bring the ball up the floor and quote-unquote initiate that offense. Coming up next, a couple deals going down, and they're starting to get close. It's that time of the year. We'll tell you who it is when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sactown Sports.
Out to Keegan Murray, straight away for 3, and Keegan knocks down the triple.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Keegan Murray, and you're listening to the home of Sacramento Kings, Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Progressive presents 10 things on a contractor's to-do list that are harder than getting a commercial auto insurance quote. Bidding a new client, giving an accurate estimate, finding affordable materials, getting a client to pay you for work you already did, getting a client to pay you, period, securing permits and workers and tools, getting those workers and tools to work together, and finding the perfect pair of overalls. Pockets, baby. But the easiest thing on a small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you can save on commercial auto insurance. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
No one knows the importance of a great assist more than Lowe's and Leo Messi.
That's why we've teamed up to give MVPs Pro Rewards members 10 times the points when Messi makes an assist during CONMEBOL Copa America USA 2024. Activate this offer starting June 20th, so when Messi assists, you score. Shop the day after an assist to earn those extra points. Not an MVP's Pro Rewards member? Join today.
Shop Folsom Lake Kia for special offers right now. I'm Coach Doug Christie urging you to visit my friends at Folsom Lake Kia and save big on your next new or certified pre-owned vehicle right now. Visit FolsomLakeKia.com.
It's a myth to think you don't play golf well enough to get fitted for golf clubs. The professionals at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio would argue that playing the game with golf clubs properly fitted to your body and swing characteristics is the best way to improve your game and have more fun on the golf course. With a professional staff of fitters, all the major brands of equipment, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan, the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is worth a look. See for yourself, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Schedule your fitting at 916-808-2531, 808-2531.
Sacramento, Dirk Bentley is coming to town.
Hey, y'all, this is Dirk Bentley.
Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo for Country in the Park 2. And he's bringing some friends.
This is Family.
Take my hand, let me make you mine. Hey, it's Dasha.
Kelsey Hart and more. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo. Get your tickets before they sell out at CITPFest.com. Brought to you by Hyatt Vacation Club and Xfinity.
Carmichael Dave here for Capital Casino. Sacramento summertime heat is back. And of course, Cap Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, wants to invite everyone to soak up some air conditioning, still with the most variety of table games in the region. And as always, the best food, best service, and the best action, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. Capital Casino, of course, reminding everyone to please make sure you gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Lead generation is one of the most important aspects of any marketing campaign. Let us help you identify your target audience and market your products or services to them. Go to aimyourdigital.com today. aimyourdigital.com.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Couple of former Raptors trying to make some moves as far as their wallets are concerned. Pascal Siakam. Reports are that a deal is very close between Pascal and the Pacers. This is from Scott Agnes, who is a beat writer for the Indiana Pacers for Fieldhouse Files. The Pacers are nearing a long-term contract extension with forward Pascal Siakam, the league sources told Fieldhouse Files. Both sides know how each other feels and want the partnership to continue. Story to come. Not the same, not completely different, but not the same for OG Anunoby. He is not thrilled, in quotes, with the Knicks' current offer and will test the free agent market. That is per Brian Windhorst. Let's keep an eye on that. Most people believe Anunoby will stay with New York, but there have been indications he may want to test the market because he's not thrilled with what the Knicks are offering.
Man, I mean, what an absolute mess. It's just, this is what everyone was afraid of, too, at the deadline. This is what everyone was afraid of when they made these moves, is that one of these guys, if not both, and it turns out it's one, you were going to offer a ton of money. And, I mean, the Knicks gave up real assets. They gave up Emmanuel Quickley, who was a real six-man of the year candidate, and they gave up R.J. Barrett, who was the, number 3 pick in the draft, and he didn't quite pan out how they wanted, but he was still a really solid player, a borderline starter for sure. And they could potentially just lose it for a half season, for a really fun half season. But essentially lose it.
OG barely played.
If anything, he gave them hope, which was the worst thing you could have given him. I think it's definitely a cautionary tale. And this is why it was always going to be risky doing business with either of those Toronto guys, but it's a nightmare. If OG leaves and he walks, I mean, the Knicks were banking on this. This was supposed to be the thing that, was going to take the momentum that they just built this season and carry it over into the future. Without OG, to me, it's still an incomplete team, and you have Julius Randle coming back, and I don't like that fit. I think the team is a really bad puzzle at that point. If you don't have OG and you just have Julius Randle and Brunson and DiVincenzo and Josh Hart, it just feels like Julius is a bit of a square peg round hole or whatever it is. That's a terrible situation. Shout out Pascal for making it easy on his team, but even that's going to come with a heavy price that I don't know if it's overall going to be worth it.
But that's what's so interesting. We knew that Pascal, and I think that there were reports that OG was always going to at least it wasn't as clear cut as Pascal, but I don't understand how that happens if you're the Knicks and OG. You make this trade, you're willing to give up these pieces, and we know Pascal, like it was in the open that, hey, I'm down to stay. To be not thrilled is my issue. How do you let that how do you trade your pieces and then be so far off to where OG Anunoby is quote unquote not thrilled? That's what I don't get.
Yeah, y'all weren't talking all year. You didn't I mean, I guess maybe this is a sign that tampering isn't real because, you would have suspected that the Knicks would have had a good thought of what he was going to ask. But yeah, I mean, it's an absolute mess. I mean, I can't imagine what the difference is that it comes out that he's going to test free agency because the offer was so lackluster. And what does he want? Because this is, and it's almost a version of the Porzingis question of like, if we are going to be paying you, what exactly are we paying you for? Because you don't play games. And then in the postseason, again, if we're banking on you to play a month and a half straight, I'm not taking that bet. No. And so what are you supposed to do with him? Like just hope that 1 year you get a healthy season? If you're a GM, you're pulling your hair out. I mean, but the problem is also they're stuck. They can't, like the Knicks have to be all in on OG because like I said, they gave up so many assets for him. They can't afford to just let him walk. So maybe they can work out a sign and trade if he does leave. But I don't know. I'm kind of surprised too because this feels like the perfect fit for OG. I don't really know what else he's looking for in a situation.
Yeah, those numbers must be way off. 916-339-1140 and TC's never way off. He always has something to say. What's up, TC? What you got for us?
Alan, Chris, what's up?
Not
just
much, man.
Relaxing, man. What you got?
Just relaxing. Hey, look, bro. So, hey, I'm out on OG. At first, remember, I was super in on OG. Like, man, we got to do it. Remember, I was ready to trade Keegan for OG. I was like, man, if they talk about straight up, let's get rid of Keegan, bro, and then go pick up OG. At this point, bro, I'm cool. Like, I don't know what you asking for, dude. Like, I'm not giving you $50 million. And Alan, Chris, you got a point. Bro, we can't even rely on you in the playoffs. So say if we did trade, right? Say if we did sign OG to 40, bro, we can't even trust that you will be able to play through the playoffs and help us try to win a title, big dog. I'm out on OG, bro. Now I see what everybody was saying. Like, hold on, dog. OG's cool, but dude never plays, dog. Seriously. On the flip side, I like that kid from Indiana. I really like that kid from Indiana, the center. I don't know if he's going to be there in the second round. But if we keep the 13th pick, which I think we're going to trade away, but I'm all in, bro, for him or Edie. Get the big bodies in here and let's do it big. That Chicago Bulls deal, I'm all over that. If they giving us we give you Alex Caruso, just take Zach LaVine and give us your trade package. Why not, bro? That's a win-win. At that point, if we make that trade, I don't care if we sign Malik Monk back. In my opinion, I might sound crazy, but I keep telling y'all every time I call, bro, this offseason, these moves cannot be so surrounded around Malik Monk. I love the guy. He's my dude. But everything can be surrounded around that guy, dude. Like, if he's going to come back, he's going to come back. But if we make that trade, bro, it's like, do we really need Malik Monk back at that point? That's all I got.
Yeah, thanks for the call, TC. And, it's a good point. Look. If the Kings can figure out, and this goes to Chris's point about the dog, right? If the Kings can figure out that Khalil Ware motor situation, I mean, Chris, the tape is ridiculous. Offensively, the dude is crazy gifted. I'm talking more than what we saw more than what I saw from Derek Lively. And I know Derek Lively went crazy in the warm-ups when no one's guarding him. But what I saw from Khalil Ware offensively and defensively, I think he can get there. If you can figure out that motor situation, it's easy money to me.
Yeah, no, I just think motor's a tough thing here in Sacramento.
That's also true.
It's just scary, because we got to face the reality of the situation. Like, you're not the Warriors, you're not the Lakers, you're not the Celtics, you're not the Heat, you're not the Knicks, you're not an organization that you're just naturally going to have a sense of pride in going to. And if Khalil Ware has a bad attitude on him and he feels like, oh man, here I am in Sacramento, even though the narrative has definitely changed, he could definitely be like, oh man, like, this is cool, but it's not it. It's not, what am I going to, bust my behind for a team that, we've talked about maybe lacks some leadership or maybe lacks some internal fire.
Yeah, exactly.
If he's got to be the one to produce all that stuff, like, I do think that's a bit concerning. Of course, Mike Brown's going to be on him, but I just kind of think that you have to consider situation. And I think, Whitey brought up a good point yesterday. And when they brought Khalil Ware and Zach Edey into the pre-draft workout yesterday here in Sacramento, I wonder how much of that is them testing him and saying, all right, we're going to put the biggest, largest human we can find, and he's going to push you around and he's going to make you frustrated. How do you react? Do you give up? Do you attack him even more? Do you have a set of skills that can just easily blow by these big plotting big men? What do you look like and how do you react to it? It's huge. And that's where Monty McNair's got to, it's more than just the on the floor stuff. Cause like you said, I mean, anyone with eyes can see dude's got talent, but can you see the layer beyond that? Can you see what drives him, what motivates him? That's why Monty McNair's got to make that's why he makes the big bucks, but that's why he's got to have these guys in, and you really got to know them. You can't just, not bring these guys in and pick them willy-nilly. That's gotten the Kings in tons of trouble in the past. And so, yeah, I mean, if you don't feel like the toughness or the motor is a problem, kid's going to be a crazy good player. But you also have to weigh that versus the level of risk you're willing to take. And would you rather just go with a Isaiah Collier, Tristan Da Silva, Zach Edey, even somebody that you just know, hey, I'm not going to let something that's off the floor determine my job potentially. I don't think it's that serious, but yeah, it could be.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point as far as the team is concerned with everything that we've heard from JaVale McGee and Leandro Barbosa, the assistant coach. I mean, if you're the Miami Heat, maybe you can afford to draft a Khalil Ware because you know that your culture is strong enough that we're going to get what we need out of him. Yeah. You got Jimmy Butler there, at least for the time being. You got guys that are going to be, in his ear saying, this is okay, this is not okay. I don't know if you have that in Sacramento.
Yeah.
And if you're asking him to be a self-starter, how much can you trust that? Mm-hmm. But is that worth the risk when you see what he can do on tape? Real quick, Chris, this is according to Michael Scotto. This is from a Sports Illustrated article not too long ago. And basically, former Toronto Raptors wing is reportedly expected to sign a new multi-year deal worth at least $35 million per season at some point this offseason, according to Hoop Hype's Michael Scotto. New York is widely expected to re-sign Anunoby after acquiring him from Toronto earlier this past season. So maybe they came in, hey, we heard 35 was going, and he said, 35 ain't going. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I don't know. What do you do OG for 40? I don't know.
I don't want to.
I don't think I want to. Coming up next, we do want to give away some tickets. That is at 1 p.m. So you don't want to miss that. Also continuing the Kings conversation and a crazy draft class, some crazy notes coming out of the NBA Finals. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
And a handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports.
Since 1776, July 4th has been celebrated as the birth of American independence, but it's been a federal holiday only since 1941. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. It was a mere 7 years later when the Keys family opened their first Naturewood store in Sacramento. And I guess Northern Californians have been celebrating ever since. We celebrate an incredible selection of furniture brands made right here in America. We celebrate the kind of generous hometown hospitality that was important to Walter Keys in 1948 and continues with the Keys family and the Naturewood home furnishing staff today. And we celebrate the kind of quality that's been synonymous with Naturewood for all these 76 years. Look for made in America brands like Stanton, Sam Moore, Stickley, Hilltop Hickory, Simply Amish, and more during the Naturewood 4th of July sale event. Find the furniture that you will celebrate for years to come. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more. And then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a colonial with high ceilings, hardwood floors, and a peaceful neighborhood. And you found it. Now, every Saturday at 6 a.m., you get to wake to the sound of your neighbor's leaf blower. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit ConsumerCellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with a purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Save on rows and rows of new Hondas during our giant summer sale at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Ridgeline, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Whitey here reminding you that not all gas grills are created equal. Bring out all the delicious flavors in your grilled meats with the amazing Napoleon Prestige and Prestige Pro line of outdoor cookers. My Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill has turned me into a grilling pro with features other grills cannot match. They're built different, built better, built to last. Made with premium stainless steel that boasts quality and a lifetime warranty. I may never want to cook indoors again. Napoleon grills and accessories are now available at your nearby Amy's, Ace Hardware in Sacramento, and now El Dorado.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire.
Missed free throw, Ford for the rebound. Here's Pritchard, he loves these. Puts it up half court to the buzzer. Bang! Pritchard at the buzzer with a three-pointer. He's done it again.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
15 minutes. Going to give away tickets. Family 4-pack of 3-day passes for the 6th annual California Classic Summer League to see your Sacramento Kings. But who will be on that team? Will it be Khalil Ware? Will it be Rob Dillingham? Can we have an understanding? Because I don't think we'll be together. Actually, we might. Maybe we could have a draft party. Because what is it? It's on a Thursday or a Wednesday?
The draft?
Yeah.
It's on a Wednesday.
And it's at probably 5 p.m., something like that.
Yeah. Frankie was telling me that actually the second round is going to be at 1 o'clock. So we're probably going to get some second round picks on Thursday's show. As weird as that is.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty strange. I don't understand why you would have a 2-day draft. Like the whole reason why you would separate the days is so that you can maximize the viewing of both.
Right.
Why would you put the second day at 1 o'clock? Why wouldn't you put it at 5? Like, even if no one is going to watch it, like nobody's really going to watch it when it's at 1.
Right.
It's just weird. I don't know.
All I know.
But yes, it'll be on a Wednesday and we can watch together.
Yes. Well, we are cooking something up on my end, possibly a remote. So we will have more.
Okay.
We will have more information for you. Can you imagine at the remote? Okay. And Tejan Salon's name gets called. I might just float into the sky.
It would look like the TD Garden last night when Pritchard hit that shot. It would just be out. Woo! Oh my God! I told you.
Speaking of,
oh my God!
Speaking of some of the audio that came from last night, we have some of this Jason Tatum audio, and I want to have some fun with this. We have some actual good audio from him as well. But let's start with the funny stuff. Let's go to what he said. This one was him channeling his inner Kanye. This was later at one of their hangouts post game.
I know everybody will wonder what would happen if we didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
So he's getting roasted because people are saying that he did nothing original.
Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns is shook right now. He's like, that should have been me. I'm supposed to be the corny one.
Yeah,
how dare you?
You took my whole flow of taking
bar for
other
bar.
flows
Come
bar
on.
for bar. This is the one that a lot of people were saying he tried to make it his version of the famous KG.
Yeah.
Anything is possible, because you're just gonna hear the audio here. But the second time when he screams it, he literally looks up the same way Kevin Garnett did, and people were saying he was probably practicing this in his mirror for the last 3 days.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's a surreal feeling. We did it. We did it! Oh my God, we did it.
It's literally the same, like the cadence. Like if you were to do the sound waves, it's probably bar for bar with exactly what Kevin Garnett did. That's insane. That is like that. You can't deny that. Like, we did it. The problem is, it's like he lived in the in between of like, is he paying homage to it, or is he trying to like have his own moment? I won't say it felt inauthentic at the time, but at the time, my first thought was definitely he just did the Kevin Garnett. I don't know if it was his intention, but it definitely felt like in the moment, maybe he was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do.
And this can kind of turn into a fair or foul type deal, because I think that people are, and you can have fun, and we have a lot of fun on this show, and we give people a hard time, and we give each other a hard time.
For sure.
But I do think people are being, and I'm like the guardian of the cornies and the cringe. I'm always protecting corny
Except
people.
For Tyrese, I hope.
Well, Tyrese is a little bit different. But, Karl Anthony Towns, Russell Wilson, I'll protect them when I can.
Yeah.
And I do think there's some protection that needs to be done here.
Yeah.
Because, he's Jason Tatum. He's kind of been through a lot. Honestly, Chris, over the weekend, I read Jason Tatum's story.
Yeah.
And about his mom was nasty at volleyball and had a full ride to University of Tennessee, but got pregnant with Jason Tatum.
Dang.
His dad went on to play in college basketball and then played overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really have a relationship with him early. When he did develop a relationship with him, it was all basketball.
Yeah.
All they talked about was basketball. They never went to the park. Everything was only basketball. And it kind of took off once they realized how good Jason was going to be. He's got his son now with Deuce. And, you know, I'm just,
Deuce is ready to play.
Deuce is ready to make $1 million from getting signed to somebody. He'll probably be in a show or something like that. But I do think some of the hate towards Jason Tatum is a little extra, and I feel like people like to do that. I don't want to say when they feel threatened, but Jason Tatum, I mean, look at this man. And you know, Dave was doing this to you earlier. Now that you didn't have a hat on.
Old Spice. Look at him. Now look at me.
Look at this guy, Jason Tatum. He's got the world at his fingertips. He's still only 26 years old. And I feel like there are some people that, whoa, he's kind of corny. So let's make fun of him about that. Yeah. Because we can't make fun of him about anything else.
He doesn't have a bad hairline.
No, nothing. Give me something. Yeah. God dang.
Come on.
So
he's 6'10".
He's 6'10".
He's still growing.
Yeah,
it's like,
he's got another growth spurt on the way. He's about to make $63 million a year.
Gold medal.
Okay. And I don't know. I know you didn't know her by name, but he's been dating Ella May, who she's one of my wife's favorite artists. If you remember that song, and Simone, we can come back with it on the other side. Boot up, baby. I know. Boot up. There are reports that now she is expecting. So he's got number 2 on the way. The dude is winning.
Yeah.
And if the main thing is he's a little bit corny, he's a little bit cringe. People were saying he purposely didn't do the Kobe. Yeah. Because the whole thing with the text messages. And if you weren't aware, when was this, Chris?
I mean, 2020 probably, or 2021.
So pretty much right after Kobe passed, those next playoffs, Jason Tatum sent a text to Kobe, and he said, "I got you today." Obviously, they don't go on to win the championship, and he got roasted for that. Yeah. And it was I don't know what to say, because I don't want to say anything that's not right.
Step out of line.
Yes, I mean, that's what he did.
Yes.
Some people had something to say about it. That's kind of where it started.
Yeah.
And now you've had some bad losses. Yeah. You lose to the Heat. It's just kind of piled on. Yeah. So for me, I'm actually going to go on the side of fair as far as what happened last night for Jason Tatum, because I just think he really didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
He was probably going to get roasted either way, and he's just trying to enjoy himself. And there were some really awesome photos with him and Deuce. So I'm actually going to say fair. We got to come up. Am I the corny cop? Because the corny cop would mean that I'm picking out corny stuff. Some type of corny guardian or cringe. I'm the cringe guardian.
I like corny cop.
The corny cop. Okay, I protect the corny public from you haters. So
very corny, very cringe.
Thank you. And I'm actually giving him a pass.
Yeah, I think I do sympathize a lot with just like, it did feel like he was getting roasted before he even got to celebrate. To your point, like people were like, he can't wait to take this photo again. And it did kind of feel like he probably really, like, he loved, like, Jason Tatum.
And he didn't do it.
Loved Kobe Bryant. Like, truly is one of, you know how everybody knows somebody who's obsessed with Kobe?
Yes.
Like, that's how obsessed Jason Tatum was with Kobe Bryant. And it felt like he was kind of robbed of being able to give Kobe the full. He already wore the cutoff Boston Celtics shirt that Kobe, I think, did his pre-draft workout in. Like, he wanted to do all the Kobe stuff.
Yeah.
And it felt like he knew he was going to get roasted for it. And so he didn't.
Yep.
And he just wasn't allowed, to your point, like it felt like he wasn't allowed to be himself. And maybe this is reading too much into it. But yeah, like with the, it's anything is possible sounding thing. Like it just kind of sounded like he was stuck in this is crazy. This is surreal. But like, I just don't know how to, like, I don't know how to be, I don't know. I don't want to project too much, but it just didn't, it felt, I could feel the restraint from him in the celebration. And again, I think he wanted to do more, and
and then and people just get on my nerves. So they announce Jaylen Brown, and I immediately see a clip
I saw that too.
And say,
Tatum's
furious. He was literally just looking around.
Yeah.
He was just looking
He's
around.
actually really happy initially, and then there's like a half glance. Someone says something next to him where maybe it's like, hey, next time it's yours or something. And it's like, yeah, I know. He says something like, yeah, I know, or like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then like continues to clap. And it's like people are like, oh yeah, he clearly is hating.
No, they were trying to dust something up because he said, or Jaylen Brown said in his MVP acceptance speech that Al Horford is my favorite player that I've ever played with. So then people also tried to dredge
Get alive.
Crazy.
Get alive. We did it.
Doesn't hit as hard. Doesn't nearly hit as hard as anything's possible.
Well, no, but
we did it.
Like, we did it. That's what I'm gonna say if the Kings draft Tejan Salon.
Yeah,
we did it. We did it. Coming up next, Bleacher Report 2024 NBA free agency educated guesses and every team's biggest offseason fear. Can you guess what it is for the Sacramento Kings? And don't forget, California Classic Summer League giving away a family 4-pack of 3-day passes right when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity Mobile. Connect to the most reliable 5G network nationwide. Well, it was October 17th, 1974, when the A's at the Coliseum beat the Dodgers 3-2. They won the World Series 4-1 for their third straight title. Coming up later this month on June 23rd, when the A's play the Twins. As the A's say goodbye to the Coliseum this year, the A's will honor members of that 74 team in a pregame ceremony.
Want more speed? Well, Xfinity just increased their internet speeds, and they're faster than ever. It's time to get more out of your internet with faster speeds from Xfinity. Now through June 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for only $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. That's double the speed for the same great price. Click, call, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and other charges extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Award-winning country sensation Lee Brice is back.
One of them girls that ain't trying to meet nobody. You're just here.
Live in concert. Friday, June 28th, 7:30 p.m. The venue in Thunder Valley. Lee Brice. Special guest Abby Anderson. The venue at Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Don't miss Lee Brice live.
Hot summer savings now at Maida Chevy with $12,000 off MSRP on every new Silverado half-ton Turbo Max in stock after rebates.
$12,000 off every Silverado LT Turbo Max at Maida Chevy with at least 5 at this price.
Hot summer savings up to $12,000 off MSRP exclusively at Maida Chevy at MaidaChevy.com. Sacramento Silverado headquarters. Together, let's drive.
Not available with special financing or leasing. Some other offers must trade in 2010 model year or newer and 7124.
Made a great deal at Maida.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sactown Sports.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Nicely done there, Simone. Yes. Before we give away these tickets, and Simone, you have won. Yes, here goes the boot up. Simone, you have won the opportunity to choose the number
for
today's giveaway.
you.
But first, this is going to be fun. This is from the 707, so we need to think of some funny ones, and we can just do them throughout the last hour of the show. And I am the corny cop, right? Yeah. But when things are funny, I will give them their just due. I couldn't defend when Russell Wilson did those Subway commercials, or Dangerous sandwich. I couldn't defend that. Yeah. The corny cop couldn't even defend that. So the 707, this is hilarious. Tatum, definitely the type of guy to sigh and say, I needed this, while hanging out with the fellas.
Are you issuing him a ticket?
No. If you're funny, so here it goes now. 916-339-1140. If you can top that, or if you have anything funny like that, Tatum's definitely the type of guy who blank. Text line, Sack Chat. That's number one. I don't know. I don't know if you're
I don't think there's gonna be another number one.
I don't think you're beating that.
Say miracle.
Oh my God.
I needed this. Because he is that guy.
There's nothing that gets a room of guys more quiet. Friend saying, guys, this is so nice.
Yeah.
This is the best.
I just love that we're all. Yeah, I just love that we can also hang out like this.
Oh, man.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Great job, 707.
That's incredible.
All right. Is anyone beating it? Tatum's definitely the type of guy that blank.
Oh, man.
Is anyone beating?
I'll have to workshop that.
Is anyone beating the 707? Oh, my God. All right. It is time. The Sacramento Kings. Your Sacramento Kings are hosting the 6th Annual California Classic Summer League on July 6th, 7th, and July 9th with an expanded lineup of teams preparing for NBA action featuring Tejan Salon. I added that in. Yeah. He might not be there. Chris and I are going to get you in the building. Call right now at 916-339-1140 and lock up this family 4-pack of 3-day passes. Looking for caller number
7.
Caller number 7. Lucky number 7. 916-339-1140. For more information, visit sactownsports.com. We are sending you to the California Classic, a family 4-pack of 3-day passes, kicking it in Doco with whoever the Kings have picked up, if they make the pick. 916-339-1140, 916-339-1140, 916-339-1140. Caller number 7.
We're getting there.
It's growing.
I think we just got it. Oh yeah.
There you go.
Oh man. Little slow on the trigger.
Well, 7, you can't call immediately. You got to try to time it out.
I'm gonna say if people would have called immediately, I was watching that phone line.
Well, these are hot.
If they would have called immediately, they would have.
This is going to be a very Dave statement here.
Yeah.
But these are hot, right? And
those are hot.
What I was going to say, there are some giveaways we do that are hotter than others.
For sure.
And you can tell on the line.
Absolutely.
But these are hot ones.
Yeah. These are ones where you might want to call in like when Alan starts to do the read, get ahead of the thing. And then,
that's right.
You can never call too much.
That's right.
As Simone's the one who screens the calls.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it going there. And congrats to whoever got that W. And you will have another opportunity on, Thursday.
I almost said the same
Friday, because Chris and I will be out golfing tomorrow.
Yes.
As we have the day off, as we get into a couple good articles from Bleacher Report, the 2024 free agency educated guesses, and also every team's biggest fear going into the offseason or during the offseason, as Chris is still laughing.
There's another text that came in that's pretty decent. So it's funny. We got some great listeners, man. They know what they're doing.
There you go. All right, Chris.
Which one do we want to do? Do we want to do the educated guesses first, or do we want to do
educated guesses?
The educated guesses. This is you started spicy. This is kind of crazy. I stumbled upon this article maybe when did this come? I think it was yesterday I stumbled upon this. Bleacher Report doing a 2014 NBA free agency educated guesses on potential early signings. And so, as we know, Alan pointed out yesterday, signings can now happen. They can literally happen today. Pascal Siakam's being rumored, all this stuff. But yes, the official league year, I believe, starts July 1st. And that's when everybody can make their free agency signings. So here are some previews that Bleacher Report had. And let me just make note if you see any trends happening here. Okay. First off is Paul George gets maxed out by the 76ers. Let's see here. George would decline his final year option at $48.8 million to sign a new contract, potentially a 4-year, $212 million deal in Philadelphia. That is their first educated guess on what happens this offseason. Paul George gets maxed out by the Sixers. Okay, that's perfectly fine. I think we knew Paul George was going to look for a new home. That's fine.
Wasn't that Paul George was on with Joel Embiid during the finals?
Wow.
And they were, Stephen A was roasting Kawhi, and Paul George said, don't do that. Right. Don't do that. And then Joel Embiid was kind of looking over at Paul George when they said, you need some help. Yeah. I mean, that's a big three. I mean, that's a big three to me, because where Paul George is in his career right now, it's all about Joel Embiid's health. But you get Tyrese Maxey, who's probably going to – Tyrese Maxey will probably have the highest usage.
Yeah.
I think in a perfect world, I know Joel Embiid is who he is, but I think the Sixers, they need to go back to the drawing board and say, we know no one can stop Joel Embiid. The problem is he stops himself.
Yes.
So we can't continue to go on like this.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And they need, I mean, almost like what Colin was saying about Luka. It's like, even if you do get him healthy at the start of it, by the end of it, if he's going to have that level of usage, his body is going to be busted. So yeah, you need guys like Tyrese Maxey to take the ball out of his hands. But yeah, Paul George absolutely is as good of a ball handler at the forward position, maybe that there is in the league. Their second offseason educated guess is that Orlando ends up ending the Splash Brothers era, and they bring in Klay Thompson. Thompson, 34, is a lethal shooter and a big name and an excellent fit for the Orlando squad that defends but needs some floor spacing in the worst way. Put him down to the Magic on a 3-year, $81.9, we'll just call it $82 million deal, more than the Warriors will pay, at least via the crystal ball of Bleacher Report. Little joke there.
Well, and there are reports saying that Klay wants 3 years.
Well, that would fit it. 3 at 82, and they even do the math for us. Assuming it renounces everyone it can except Goga Bitadze, who I want on the Kings, Orlando still projects to have over $27 million left to spend, even after giving Klay that money, which would open up the possibility for their third educated guess for this offseason. Magic get another shooter. And unfortunately, underneath that headline is a picture of Sacramento King Malik Monk, saying that the Orlando Magic could get not just Klay Thompson, and, I'm going to spoil a little bit, not just Malik Monk, but also Tobias Harris. We'll get to that in a second. But on the Malik Monk side of things, this is, again, Bleacher Report's educated guesses for this offseason. After 2 years, he's outperformed once again, and Sacramento is in a similar position with his early bird rights, which limits the team to offer the 26-year-old at $17.4 million. Even trading away Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, and others wouldn't be enough to prevent his exit unless he's willing to take less to stay. If the Kings can pay him almost $78 million over 4 years, the Magic will give him a 10% bump, slightly more, plus a favorable tax situation in Florida, to $86 million, which would start the contract at $20 million. Malik is a sixth man, but Thompson will play small forward for the team. And Alan, this is where we're going to tie it in with the Bleacher Report article of what's your worst nightmare for this offseason. Bleacher Report had it be, of course, Malik Monk leaves this team.
Right.
And you asked me, hey, is there anything that could be worse than Malik Monk leaving via free agency? And I said, no, there's nothing that's going to be worse than that. And then I read this article, and Alan, I found something that is actually worse than Malik Monk just leaving the Kings via free agency. Let me read this last sentence for you in this Bleacher Report article. Again, Monk is still a sixth man, but Thompson will play the small forward for the team. The Magic bring in 2 shooters and have 2 creative scorers, with Cole Anthony and Monk off the bench with about $8.3 million left to spend. Alan, the worst nightmare for the Kings would be if Malik Monk leaves for, $2 million extra dollars, and he's still coming off the bench.
That's crazy.
That would hurt more than anything else, because the assumption was, hey, man, how are we supposed to tell this man, take less money, and if you're being promised a starting gig, turn that down? Even if Kings will offer it to you, a team was willing to pay you more and start you and be in Florida and have all the tax benefits and all that stuff, turn all that down. Like, if he just turns down a similar situation for a couple extra dollars on top of it, and $2 million, a couple extra, that kills us. That absolutely kills us emotionally. Not, they can fix it, but him saying emotionally, that would be an absolute dagger.
Because that's straight up, I think this team has a higher ceiling than the Kings.
Yes.
A little bit more money.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think
marginal.
I think this team has a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it's Orlando. I was just thinking when you were saying all these moves, I'm thinking, why does Orlando have all this promise?
Yeah.
They're not any bigger of a market than Sacramento.
No, it's just that they have the young guys and they have the cap space now, so you can put the young guys with actual legitimate players. And like I mentioned, Tobias Harris is a name that they're saying as this Orlando Bleacher Report article, Magic add depth with Tobias Harris. Rounding out the Magic, the team needs veteran forward depth at the power forward. While they could retain Joe Ingles, Tobias Harris may provide a star caliber player behind Paolo Banchero. Given how often players get injured in the NBA, Harris would be a bargain on a 2-year, $17 million per year contract, which would if the Orlando Magic somehow leave this offseason with the young group of guys that they have, and they add Klay Thompson, and they add Tobias Harris, and they add Malik Monk, that's look out Boston at that point. Yeah. I just can't see it happening because, I do think Malik might say in that situation, now order of operations might play a factor, but if I'm Malik, I'm saying I was going here to get a ton of touches, or at least as many touches as I'm getting in Sacramento. I'm seeing Paolo Banchero in front of me now. You telling me you're going to pay Klay that money and you're not going to give him shots? Franz Wagner still gets a shout. You got Cole Anthony. You got just tons of young players that you need to give the rock to. How is Malik supposed to have any bigger of a role in Orlando if they're adding all of those guys?
I don't see it happening. But if it did happen, that would be terrible for the Kings on multiple levels. There are a couple L's that you can handle. I don't know if that's an L that they would be able to handle. Coming up next, hot off the press, Chris. When we talk about, I don't know if delusion is the right word, but I just came across something, and it might make you feel good about the rival team of the Kings. Ooh. We discuss when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out SactownSports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and The Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on SactownSports.com.
If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Because now at Staples, you can save up to $50 on your print purchase. From posters and flyers to signs and menus, Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. And with Staples Print Perfect Guarantee, it's done right or it's printed again free. Plus, same-day service is available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. Get it printed right at Staples. And now get up to $50 off your print purchase. And 76, visit staples.com/print for details.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
From the 916, Tatum is the type of guy to lose a remote and say, if I was a remote, where would I be?
That's crazy.
Nicely done, 916. If I were the remote, where would I be?
I like the singing "Boot Up" to
yes,
LMA.
From the 916, he sings "Boot Up" to his boo, LMA. He probably does. Babe, can you sing that song again? I love it.
No, I'm going to sing it for you.
No,
I'm going to sing it to you. Wouldn't it be sweet if I sang it to you? No, it would be scary.
Nicely done. Keep them coming. And Chris, for the Olympics, this came out. Bob Fitzgerald will be doing some of the broadcasting action from the Warriors.
Yeah.
And,
don't check socials.
Well, when we did crosstalk a long time ago, and it was a bit awkward because I know Draper, I'm sure there's a fraternity, you don't want to say too much, but Drapes kind of went in and said, hey man, the Homer radio, it's a little nuts. You know what's even more interesting? And I think it was awful announcing that they got the F. Didn't they have the worst rating? The Warriors?
Yeah, they did.
So for Bob Fitzgerald to get this, I mean, good on him. But
for sure.
Little interesting. I guess it doesn't matter what people think in that regard. But he was on the Warriors flagship, and he had this to say. Now, keeping all that in mind, the golden glasses or the golden lenses that they wear, I just read this and I thought, this is exactly what we were talking about. And the opposite of Brad Stevens, the opposite of Brad Belichick or Bill Belichick. They're just not sure what to do. And it's because of takes like this. So Bob Fitzgerald was on the Warriors flagship and he had this to say. And the whole idea is that the Warriors don't need to make a drastic change. Okay. Draymond Green missed 27 games and the Warriors still won 46 games and won 25 games on the road. You're not going to tell me that this wasn't a 53 or 54 win team if Draymond played some of those 27 games. So where would 52 wins get you? It would have got you the 4 seed. You would have had home court advantage in round 1. Dallas won 50 games and they went to the finals. This whole the Warriors are done and they need to trade 17 dudes and change their whole roster. No. They can't have Draymond miss 27 games, just like Jokic could have missed 27 games, or Giannis could have missed 27 games, or Luka could have missed 27 games.
Right.
The NBA, if your best players play a lot of games, you'll get the max results for your team. Last year, the Warriors had one of their absolute core pieces, indispensable guys, miss 27 games. They don't need to change a thing, Chris. They just need Draymond to play.
Right. Yeah. We just need Porzingis to play. We just need OG Anunoby to play. And we just need Draymond to not get suspended for violence. It's just, honestly, he's going to miss games because he's going to, take himself out of games first off via ejection. And, odds are that there's so many things wrong with that statement. I don't even know where to attack it. It's just, it's a big whataboutism. Yeah. What about if Draymond would have played? Well, he didn't. And you know what? But the Warriors still lost to the Kings, who are not a playoff team, and they lost to him in the play-in.
Let's play the game.
With Draymond. Draymond played that game.
I know, but let's play this game.
Put it Clay,
if Draymond plays, if Draymond
15 of those,
going into next season, do you believe that yes, the Warriors could be a 4 seed in this West right now? And I guess they're not making any, let's assume they don't make any changes. If it's all about Draymond.
I don't think so. I don't think their supporting cast is that is good enough. Steph is obviously still great. But if they're losing Clay, then it's a lot of reliance on a lot of unproven guys. Then we're talking about, Brandon Pajemski getting massive major minutes. And we're talking about Jonathan Kuminga has to be great. And then we're talking Andrew Wiggins can't. How about Andrew Wiggins? He's just missing games. Just deciding I'm going to take some time off here these past 2 seasons. I don't know. Undoubtedly the Warriors would have a better record if Draymond wasn't out for those 27 games. But, at the same time, does that, again, to me, it means something that the Warriors couldn't beat the Kings in that play-in game. I don't think the Warriors were a championship caliber team or even close to that. I think it would have been, you're holding on hope. But at the end of the day, I think the problem is this. I don't think the Warriors are in their championship window anymore unless they bring in another secondary player. And I don't think that this team at full strength is anything to worry about.
They must be thinking, and I just saw that he's in Paris right now getting his work in, Jonathan Kuminga. that's going to be your second creator then.
Yeah.
Because who else? It wasn't going to be Klay either way because Klay doesn't create.
Yeah.
You need Jonathan Kuminga to take a crazy leap in this situation. Yeah. Or I guess Andrew Wiggins returns to 2022 form, which we just have not seen.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't see it. I don't see how the math is there. I mean, again, I think they would have been a better team, but they're not making any noise in the playoffs. I think going into next year, I don't really know what the Warriors' goals and aspirations are, especially if this does not seem like a Brandon Ayuk. Like, it seems like Klay Thompson is legitimately positioning himself to leave. A lot of things have pointed in the direction of Klay is definitely going to test free agency and definitely could seriously walk out. And if that's the case, I don't know where they go. It's not even like Klay was that good for them this season, but that's a big part of their identity that's just missing. You can focus in so much more on Steph if Klay isn't there, if the threat of Klay isn't there. I don't know, man. I think that they're a bit in delusionalville and they kind of are just, I think that they're just kind of stuck in thinking that they can run these guys into another championship because it happened in 2022. I just don't think it can happen again.
You're just going to need everything we just mentioned. You're going to need random stuff to happen.
Yes.
Andrew Wiggins, and that's why they paid him, because they said, oh, this is who you're going to be now.
Right.
And he was never that guy again, or he hasn't been that guy again from 2022. You got a random season from Jordan Poole, right? And Jordan Poole, is that Pajemski? Are you going to get that from Pajemski?
Yeah.
Where are you going to get that? You need a lot of things to go right. And let us not forget, as far as the Nuggets are concerned, it was Jokic and a bunch of plumbers themselves. Jamal Murray was coming back from the ACL. Yeah. So, and I don't even know if Michael Porter Jr. played that season or during those playoffs. So it's a completely different. That's the other part of this.
Yeah.
Timing is everything. That's how we started the show. We got 30 minutes left here. And for the Celtics, they positioned themselves to be good this whole time.
Yep.
The Warriors, they struck while it was hot for them.
Yep.
That you could argue was a down west in a way.
Yeah.
Or it was more, you don't have to call it a down west, but it wasn't as up as it is now.
Yeah.
The OKC Thunder, they were all 14 at that time.
Yeah.
They were still in high school.
Yeah.
Okay. You had the Timberwolves, who they were still trying to figure things out. I think that was right before the Rudy Gobert trade, or maybe
it was right before.
Yeah, right before it. And you had Anthony Edwards still getting his feet under him. That's not the case anymore.
No, yeah. They just had to worry about Memphis, really.
And Ja got hurt.
Yeah.
And Ja got hurt. Yeah. So you want to run it back? Okay.
Go ahead.
But I do not think that's enough. And maybe I'm wrong, but go ahead and don't make a deal. I just think they're overvaluing the same way we discussed Keegan Murray. I think they are way overvaluing Jonathan Kuminga. And I like Jonathan Kuminga a lot.
Yeah. No, I mean, if I were them, I would be in the Brandon Ingram sweepstakes. I would be trying to get one of these other star guys to pair next to Steph to end his career. Because I don't see how, especially if Klay leaves, like, who is your second best player then? Because that's a lot of weight on Steph's shoulders, and Steph is only getting older every single year. I don't know who they expect to be that number two. Because Klay has just been that guy for them every single time. And, Poole obviously stepped up in those finals as well. If neither of those guys are in the building, then you're relying on Andrew Wiggins, you're relying on Jonathan Kuminga. And I don't think either of those two guys are there. I would much rather try and bring in one of these star guys that Jimmy Butler, I know they were kicking the tires on, or were interested in at one point. That would be the route that I would go. And just try and win with stars.
Coming up next, Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype. NBA executives expect Kevin Huerter to be available again on the trade market along with Harrison Barnes. Do they actually get moved this time? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
De'Aaron Fox plays here.
Stolen by Fox. Breakaway coming up for De'Aaron. And a simple, casual spike with the left hand. Kings lead by 3.
Sactown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Stirring fiber, exercising, frequent trips to the store for more laxatives and fiber. Sounds like your constipation with belly pain is a lot to manage. But if your symptoms that keep coming back are signs of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BC. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Since 1776, July 4th has been celebrated as the birth of American independence, but it's been a federal holiday only since 1941. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. It was a mere 7 years later when the Keys family opened their first Naturewood store in Sacramento, and I guess Northern Californians have been celebrating ever since. We celebrate an incredible selection of furniture brands made right here in America. We celebrate the kind of generous hometown hospitality that was important to Walter Keys in 1948 and continues with the Keys family and the Naturewood Home Furnishing staff today. And we celebrate the kind of quality that's been synonymous with Naturewood for all these 76 years. Look for made in America brands like Stanton, Sam Moore, Stickley, Hilltop Hickory, Simply Amish, and more during the Naturewood 4th of July sale event. Find the furniture that you will celebrate for years to come. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Sacramento, Dirk Bentley is coming to town.
Hey, all, this is Dirk Bentley.
Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo for Country in the Park 2. And he's bringing some friends.
This is Bartley.
Take my hand, let me make you mine.
Paige Dasha, Kelsey Hart, and more. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo. Get your tickets before they sell out at CITPFest.com. Brought to you by Hyatt Vacation Club and Xfinity.
At the Good Feet store, we take pain very seriously. Whether in the foot, knee, hip, or back, Good Feet makes over 300 styles, flexibilities, and sizes of pain-relieving arch supports. With 26 bones, 30 joints, and over 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments in each foot, a lot can go painfully wrong. So there's a trained arch support specialist at each Good Feet store to give you a precision fit. Come in for a free fitting and test walk. No appointment necessary. Good Feet arch supports are HSA, FSA eligible.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
It's the ride everybody wants to be driving, and Elk Grove Kia has them in stock right now. I'm talking about the 2024 Kia Telluride. And my friends at Elk Grove Kia can get you behind the wheel of a 2024 Telluride SX for only $419 a month, plus taxes and fees. Whenever I see one of these driving down the road or next to me at a red light, I just stop and admire it because the Kia Telluride just looks iconic. And not only is the Kia Telluride beautiful, it's got room for the whole family. There's a seating capacity for up to 7 passengers. Plus, it's loaded with tech. So is the 2024 Kia Telluride the right ride for you and your family? Come on down to Elk Grove Kia and the Elk Grove Auto Mall. Give it a test drive. And just a heads up, when you're here at Elk Grove Kia, you're going to be treated very well. You're not going to get this kind of car buying experience in Roseville, Vacaville, Sacramento, or Davis. That's why Elk Grove Kia has so many 5-star reviews. Again, check them out in the Elk Grove Auto Mall or online, elkgrovekia.com. 24-month lease, $0 security deposit, 20 cents per mile over 10,000 miles per year, $4,999 due at signing based on approval of credit. VIN number 501850, ends June 30th, 2024. It's so bad,
and
man.
all they've done, and I can't think of Harrison Barnes' numbers off the top of my. Well, I know they went down because the touches went down. So now you're trying to move these guys. What they tried to move them during the season last season, but now you're trying to move these guys again with worse numbers.
Yeah, I mean it's it's got shades of Vlade's. I had a better deal a couple days ago, but it's going to be an interesting offseason for that matter. It's going to be trying to figure out exactly how much damage was done, I guess, to their value, because both of those dudes definitely have a significant amount. But yeah, you're right. Like their numbers were definitely down this year, and they're going to have to probably try and justify that to another team. Like why want to take the two guys that, like, it's almost again turning into a fantasy football trade of here's guys I don't want. Let me get the guy on your team that everybody wants, and then you'll take the two guys that nobody wants. Not that that's a bit harsh, but it's just strange, man. Like it's going to be interesting to see where they end up dealing them, and like if it is going to be a package deal or not, because I do think, again, individually they do have a significant amount of value, but packaging them together feels like that's how you get whatever you want.
Do you think the rest of the league would use the term distressed assets for them?
I don't think so. Maybe Harrison Barnes, but I wouldn't think Herter, because Herter just had an off year and is coming off a career year. He did just have surgery, but I would think Harrison Barnes is more of the distressed asset, because you could argue actually there's more to him than what they allowed him to show. I think we just kind of know that that's all he's got to show. So I think you could convince yourself, hey, he shot 40% from three. He just didn't have high volume. We'll give him high volume here. And then they'll learn that he has low volume by choice. And so I think he's the one that you could consider yourself, that there's more that meets the eye. I feel like everyone knows what Kevin Herter is. It's more just a matter of how much opportunity you give him. HB, you could maybe convince yourself, oh no, I remember HB, he can put the ball on the deck and he can attack the rim a lot better. Sacramento's just having him be a spot up shooter.
Right.
And again, I think we just know that that's just kind of because that's who Harrison is. So yeah. I mean, it's going to be, you're going to be shopping them out, and it is all reliable. I mean, you pretty much, I would hope what you're going to get for those two guys at this point. But yeah, I mean, you're going to shop them out, and you just got to hope that it's good enough to beat everybody else's deal. If the Warriors are going to be shopping Andrew Wiggins and maybe Moses Moody, I would think that's a better package. But if you're going to be competing with the Cavs, realistically, maybe trying to trade one of their two guards or Jared Allen, like that's a trade package that you just can't beat. So, it's going to be weird to try and see. And we've talked about it before when it comes to these teams that are the Kings are trading with. So if it is going to be Chicago or if it is going to be Washington, well, what value does Harrison Barnes and Kevin Herter provide to those teams? Like where do they see them fitting into their plans? Or is it just truly like we got what we could and we just got the best players available? I think that's just something that we don't really have a grasp on yet either, in terms of how these other teams are viewing Harrison Barnes and Kevin Herter.
Right. And Harrison Barnes is right at that limit where if you're going to pay for him to come off the bench, he better be doing some things when he gets off the bench. So, I'm seeing the text line, hey, Harrison can trade and come off the bench. That's a really good deal for a starter. That's not, as far as Harrison's yearly salary, that's not a great deal for a bench player.
Yeah, no, not a bench player who's not scoring at a high level either. No. Swiss Army knifing. And, again, I think Harrison has the capabilities of being a productive bench player. Again, I will say that it's not a stretch to say, hey, maybe this guy is so passive because he feels like, hey, I got room to stretch my legs. I'm going to play 25 to 30 minutes. I don't need to be pressing. Whereas if he's coming off the bench, maybe that sense of urgency is kind of heightened. And he's like, hey, I don't necessarily have a guaranteed second stint out here. Let me make sure I make impact now so that I am checked back in the second time. Though you could also just see him possibly saying, well, you gave me 30 minutes and I was only able to do this. You give me 15 minutes and I'm going to give you half of what I gave you in 30. And I think that's kind of the thing that we just don't know, because Harrison has played, I think, every single game that he's been on this Kings team. He has been a starter. I think he might have honestly only been coming off the bench his rookie year in Golden State and has started every single game since then. So that's kind of the question with HB, is what we think he can be a good bench player. His mentality, his demeanor would be somebody who would accept the bench role, but the reality of what the production would be if he's coming off the bench, it's just a little unknown.
Harrison Barnes is going to make $18 million next season and $19 million the season after that. I just have a couple other bench players out there. One who took the Sixth Man of the Year award away from Malik Monk. Naz Reid will make $13.9 million next season, has a player option, which he might opt out of.
Yeah.
But if he opts in, he will make $15 million. And you have, what was Clarkson was at $14 million. Yeah. And Bobby Portis, and this is ridiculous, Chris. He's definitely going to opt out. Bobby Portis making $12.5 million next season and has a player option after that for $13.4 million. So I believe he will be opting out of that.
Yeah, probably, especially with all the money that's being thrown out there, right? Like he's definitely going to say, and there was
he's 29. That's his last chance, one of his last chance for a big payday.
There's some rumors that he was being shopped too, isn't there? I think there was. So maybe that's going to be a situation where, like, Brandon Ingram is kind of in now, where they're saying, hey, we know he's going to opt out. We're not going to pay him that contract. Trade for him now, and then maybe you can be in a Pascal Siakam, I won't say an OG and a newbie situation, because I don't think anyone wants to sign up for that. But I think that's definitely somebody who, again, if we're talking Malik Monk replacements or just other options, I think that's a great option for any team to bring off the bench, is that Bobby Portis contract. So that could definitely be something where if I'm the Kings, I don't know how they could get it done, but that would be something I would look at.
It's tough because his deal is so good. So to make the money work.
Right. You tried that.
Yeah. So to make the money work, it is surrounding lesser players that the Bucks probably wouldn't want. Right. Because it might need to be a 3-teamer.
Could we do, this is off the top of my head here, like Sasha, who's at 8. Can we do Duarte, who's at like 3? And you know what, Milwaukee, I like you so much. I'll give you Colby Jones as well for Bobby Portis. Does that move you?
It moves me. Is it going to move Milwaukee?
Yeah. Well, I was hoping you would be the Milwaukee.
Am I Milwaukee?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a shooter. It's 2 shooters, I guess.
And would you consider Duarte a ball handler? Because they need a secondary ball handler.
They do desperately. No, so I would think Duarte is like a backup to Pat Connaughton.
You got to go Davion.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And then are you willing to do that? Yeah, like Sasha, Davion, and maybe a young player or something like that for Bobby Portis. That would be interesting for sure. And that's probably, again, more so a Malik's not here universe situation, but I wouldn't be opposed to that, because Bobby Portis can probably play backup center.
Like Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me the eyes. Give me the crazy eyes.
That's that dog.
That's the enforcer that we need.
That's that dog.
He's just going to look at you and you're going to know I did something wrong.
That's right. Crosstalk coming up next with the Drive Guys. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
Save on rows and rows of new Hondas during our giant summer sale at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Ridgeline, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
There is a different vibe at night at the Hagen Oaks Range, powered by Top Tracer. It's more relaxed, with golfers and newbies side by side enjoying the technology used on televised golf tournaments. Play a variety of fun games. Play Pebble Beach. Compete against friends at the Hagen Oaks Driving Range. Or treat yourself to 9 holes on the Mackenzie putting course. Hungry? The Hangout Food Truck offers burgers, chicken strips, and more. And don't forget to check the summer-long free concert schedule at the Hagen Oaks Driving Range, Fulton Avenue and Cap City Freeway.
My good friends, Dr. Jack Friedlander and Dr. Pash in Roseville and in San Francisco, are offering not only confidence, not only security, but also the ability, if you ain't insecure, to go from the roster to the All-Star team. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about UpsizeMatters.com. Time after time, vote after vote, circumference, or as we call it, girth, is consistently ranked as the most important attribute. And Dr. Jack and Dr. Pash can give you a free consultation. The procedure can be done on the same day as your consultation with immediate results. It's non-surgical. It's virtually pain-free, safe, effective, long-lasting, semi-permanent, and doctor-performed. For more information, go to UpsizeMatters.com. Go to UpsizeMatters.com. Make that change. Make the All-Star team. Get your girth on.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sactown Sports 1140.
Award-winning country sensation Lee Brice is back.
One of them girls that ain't trying to meet nobody. You're just here.
Live in concert. Friday, June 28th, 7:30 p.m. The venue at Thunder Valley. Lee Brice. Special guest Abby Anderson. The venue at Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Don't miss Lee Brice live.
Maida Chevy saves you $12,000 off MSRP on every new half-ton Silverado LT Turbo Max. In stock after rebates. Always 5 to choose from. Exclusive. All in-stock pricing at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See deal for details. N7124.
Sports. Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
Joined by Whitey Gleason of the Drive Guys. And Whitey, we're gonna do some baseball talk.
Ooh, okay. Better make it quick.
Never. By the way, you were talking about, I was tuning in yesterday.
Yeah.
And you and Jay were talking about soft pitch softball bat prices.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they are crazy.
I couldn't believe it.
No, they're insane.
Well, so back in the day,
they're insane.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
In high school,
it's disgusting.
Yeah, in high school and college, you're talking about an XO, TPX, XO, Voodoo. They're gonna hit you. About
yeah. So wait, what we're talking about?
Good bat, these are all bats.
Spell?
These are all bats.
Okay.
The good bat's gonna hit you 350. We're not talking about that, are we?
I think we are. If we're talking like you're getting an industry standard, like, yeah, we're playing every weekend in the tournaments and all that. I'm saying probably 300, 350.
That's nuts.
You could probably go upwards of like close to 5.
I think Jay was telling me like the floor, and he was saying like, like the basement floor, subfloor is 2 something.
You can go to Dick's Sporting Goods right now and maybe get one for like 125 or something, but those are single barrel, and I say it because I'm in a single barrel league.
Yeah.
Those are single barrel bats where I call them Toys R Us bats. Like, they're terrible.
Right,
You're not getting any pop.
You can also get a softball with some of those. See, I've been looking.
Really? Wow, what a deal. You get a single barrel bat and a softball.
And I thought, that's probably not
great. Yeah,
Well,
it's crazy, though.
Yeah, well, speaking of...
Don't get me started on the gloves either.
Well, look, what do people say? It's the wand, not the wizard, huh? Or it's the wizard, not the wand. Yeah.
Sometimes in slow pitch, it is about the wand. I'll tell you that. It can do you a lot of favors.
Well, Buck Showalter is saying it's about more than that, as
this is crazy.
He's saying some interesting things about when he's looking for prospects. This is what he had to say.
I watch these kids. I'm looking at other things than a lot of people look at. I'm looking at how high is their butt? How
high's their butt?
Yeah, how they got a full beard? You don't see a bunch of pancake rear guys playing. You don't. There's some exceptions to everything. I'm just telling you.
What just happened?
Okay.
No.
I'll tell you another one too. If you look at a full beard, if I see a guy that's got a full beard, there's an X there, because he's not getting any bigger. He's not getting any stronger. You better like what you see. He's fully grown. For the most part.
You better like what you're saying. He's a full.
I've got more, but I'm going to start. What color eyes do they have? They brown? They green? They blue? Well, take a look at the batting title guys over the last 40 years. What color eyes they had, Greg? There's some consistency. I can keep going. Your wrist, your fingers. I'm looking too much.
And that's why they do all the different data points they do. They test them on everything. How long their wingspans are, how long their strength is, all that stuff that gets measured in. It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
I love how
Harold Reynolds.
I love how Harold's trying to save it. He's like, no, and that's why they do wingspan and hands.
Let's get totally away from what he's saying, and pretty cool.
What is the eye color of the past couple batting champs?
You don't want to go there.
Actually,
I want to know.
Is it like green? Is it blue? What is he? Where is he? I mean, is he?
What color eye does Judge have?
Ask Frankie. Ask Frankie.
Yeah.
He's looked into those eyes many a time. I have no idea.
Fair or foul on that?
Foul ball. Depending on where you are. It reminds me of what Jerry Reynolds was telling us last week. We were talking about Jerry West.
Yeah.
And we
I'm
were
sure
talking
Jerry's
about,
got a couple of those weird scouting things.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that weird. But.
Like what made Jerry West such a good talent evaluator? And he said, I asked him one time, and Jerry West said, and he started the same as Buck Showalter. I look at different things. But Jerry West said, apparently to Jerry, he said, I look at what a guy can do well. First thing I look at, everyone looks at what's this guy, what can he do? I look at what a guy does well and ask myself, would that translate to the NBA? Then the next thing is things he doesn't do well, could he learn how to do those things? So that's a really interesting way to look at it.
So not guys' butt height?
Didn't come up that I know of. How many pancake butts win a batting title? That's a good trivia question.
Great trivia. It might be in that stack of cards.
I'm looking here.
We might be able to find.
Corey Seager.
Oh yeah.
Aaron Judge, Michael Brantley, Tim Anderson. Those are the last 4 batting title winners in the American just in general.
Okay.
But I'm trying to figure out
eye color.
what their eye color.
This is breaking stuff here. Like, I mean,
excuse me, those were the runner-ups.
You didn't have Luis.
So Yandy, Yandy Diaz, Luis Arias, Yuli Gurriel. That's crazy. DJ LeMahieu and Tim Anderson.
Wow.
And then Mookie Betts.
There's no way they all have the same eye color.
No.
0%
No.
Is he trying to get at something else there? Like, is he trying to say that there's some pure baseball player that's out there or something like that?
Come on,
interesting. Is Buck's not still managing, is he? I don't think so.
He's on MLB tonight.
Oh, okay.
You think Stiles was a pancake butt?
Definitely not.
No, definitely not.
There's
no way.
Thicker than a Snicker.
How do we transition?
No, you can't. You can't. Speaking of thick.
You're Bucks kind of guy.
Yeah, speaking of thick, Elliot Ramos.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, that man has been.
About the home runs, not about the thickness. Sorry. I said, oh, my goodness. Speaking of Elliot Ramos, I said, oh my goodness.
Oh, my goodness. Talk about the
Friday's
thickness.
coming early this week.
No, it is.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have tomorrow off.
Oh, here's the thing, Whitey. Can we get some, not that we do this, but can we get some odds for Chris and I? We're golfing just a 9 tomorrow. Can we get some odds on who's going to win tomorrow's golf match?
Where's Dan Dibley when you need him? He's a master at that.
I know.
The odds, I don't know enough about your games to set any responsible.
That's why it's fun.
Odds.
So do it.
Where are you playing?
Do it. Land Park.
Oh,
easy
okay.
9.
So that kind of
mid to easy
equalizes things.
Yeah.
Oh, for almost called you Verlad. Sorry, I just saw him out there. Chris Watkins is going to destroy you.
I have not golfed.
What's the line? How many strokes?
7.
Oh my gosh! That's crazy. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Well, Chris,
I wish.
He's just
I wish.
writing
Maybe
checks.
it will. Maybe it will.
He's Draymond Greening you, writing checks that you have to cash now. Simone 916 says, "Fellas, music killing it as usual. Thank you. Don't thank us. 916. It's not the fellas. It's Simone.
Yes.
So shout out to Simone. Wow, Whitey.
Thank you.
That many strokes, huh? Well,
7 of them.
We'll see how it goes. Luis Matos.
7 and a hook.
Okay. Now you're being disrespectful. Luis Matos earns PCL Player of the Week. Whitey, did you see the Giants game last night with Elliot Ramos going ding dong Donkey Kong again.
It's a dramatic comeback. I didn't see it live.
That's right. And Tyro Estrada, I thought that was a pop fly.
Get up into the wind in Wrigley.
That's what I needed at Hart Health Park. I need some wind aid.
Wind assistance.
Yes.
Wind to your back. Yeah.
Are you starting to get intrigued at all by the Giants or not yet?
No, not really. But I mean, I think everyone overreacted. I remember sitting here next to you weeks ago. Oh, the Giants are so terrible. Or maybe you tweeted it. And I was like, they're fine. They're going to be fine.
I always said they were going to be
fine. Especially
but what's fine?
League. You're in the wild card hunt. And then, you get in or not. If you get in, all right, here we go. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it takes anymore in baseball. Over 162, what do you want to be? Just get in there one way or the other.
That's right. That's what they used to do in the past.
It kind of seems to me, Alan, and I want to know your thoughts on it. Like, not that it's hard to celebrate, but Giants fans have just been very angry, it feels like. And like, is it tough to celebrate Elliot Ramos's success? Because it feels like a lot of people are, of course they are enjoying it, but it feels like there is the element of, well, this should have happened all this time ago.
Yeah.
And, you would have gotten these results previously.
Some people feel like that. Some people also feel like we've discussed, the PCL is a hitter-friendly league, and it just hadn't clicked for. The question is it clicking for Elliot? Is it finally clicking for Elliot Ramos just randomly, or could it have already clicked for him if he got more time?
Right. And I think it becomes tough when Luis Matos also had at least that stint where he was out of this world. It's like, and I mean, on the other side of the coin, you got Marco Luciano, right? Where it's like,
do you just leave him out? I mean, look what they did. If they were willing to, and he was not good, but if they're willing, the Orioles were willing to, hey, Jackson Holiday, let's just have him reset. Then you got to think, okay, this stuff does happen. A lot of these dudes just don't come into the league just balling out. But I think it's a little bit different because Matos played last season in the bigs, and Ramos played last season in the bigs. So at what point are you just going to let these guys kind of do their thing? So it's a little bit different. But I think Giants fans, they just want to be upset.
Yeah.
Very similar, Whitey, real quick, as Simone was in my ear there. Does it feel like NBA fans like to complain about the product?
Fans are going to fan, and that's a big part of it.
We'll talk about it more.
Seconds.
We'll talk about it more on Thursday, because I don't think that NFL fans, if the NFL playoffs were bad, I just don't think we'll hear NFL fans complaining as much as the NBA fans complain about their playoffs. All right, gotta go. You have Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper up next, the Drive Guys. Until Thursday, you will hear from Stiles and Watkins, and you will find out just who won the golf match. Thank you to Simone. Thank you to the callers, the texters, the Sack Chat. And until Thursday, secure the bag like the beam.
Our first year as the radio home of the San Francisco 49ers is one we will never forget.
So Charles to McCaffrey, a cutback run 30, breaks 340. McCaffrey midfield. McCaffrey 40, 30, 20, and toasted all the way down to the 3-yard line on the first play of the game. CMC Dynamite!
Congratulations to the 49ers on a terrific year. And thank you for so many wonderful memories.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask